It's just some paperwork I printed off. It's one of the first things that got me intrigued. It's incidentally, good evening everybody. Hi. And welcome to our first Southend Paracrest Roundtable.
I'm looking forward to
On a, yeah, this isn't oblong. This isn't oblong, it identifies as round. So, yeah, welcome to our first our first round table. Is that working all right?
Yeah, it's fine.
Excellent. So we've got sound, that's always good. And so, yeah, as mentioned in some previous vlogs and everything, we're going to have a little chat about Egypt and how our current understandings of Egypt is, or what we've been told about Egypt, how the narrative has told us about Egypt, and what we learned at school from Egypt is completely and utterly wrong.
Just turn my phone down.
I was going to do the same thing.
Apologies.
Oh, hang on a minute. No, hang on a minute. Yeah, wrong one. It's my mistake.
You're right.
Hasn't come up live yet.
Oh, okay.
You done all that talking for nothing?
All that for
No, not
nothing.
you.
Oh, okay.
I'm waiting for the notification to come through and come up now. Oh, there we go. It's come up now. There we go.
Right. Yeah, it was just saying on my
Yeah, it's just gone live now, so
yeah.
you are live.
We are definitely live now. So have I got to do that again?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Right, so good evening everybody. Welcome to our first episode of the round table on an oblong table. It's going to identify as a round table for our purposes. So this is Southend Paracrest round table. And yes, our first episode we will be talking about stuff to do with Egypt and how the narrative hasn't been correct, thank you, and what we've been taught about Egypt is a bit rubbish, to be honest. Some things might be true, but much of it isn't, as we've been led to believe. Now, my personal, my first introduction into Egypt and things not being as they seem came about around in the 90s when I read about when I was reading Eric von Daniken. I then read a book from Alan Alford, Gods of the Millennium. I believe there's an article actually got the section here from the Gods of the Millennium, which discusses the pyramids and Khufu and all the rest of it, and how we might have been led up a garden path from our official teachings. Of course, then you've got the others, Eric, Zacharias Sitchin, yeah. And of course, more recently, if you watch YouTube, of course you are because you're watching us. You got guys like Paul Wallace, The Fifth Kind, UMTV, all them which do deeper dives into these areas and how they now look to be completely different things to what we've been led to believe. So we were taught, particularly the Great Pyramid was built as a tomb for Khufu. That in itself is wrong, which I will go into in a minute. I don't know what you guys you guys think regarding.
Well, I just think everything we've learned, supposed to have learned, is a lie. We can't believe anything. I mean, the way the pyramids were built. I mean,
What's missing off them?
They're cut to so much precision. They can't even recreate it now with the tools they've got now. So, how the hell did they create it then?
We can
Ironically,
create it now, we just don't need to. But back then, yeah.
ironically, something came up on my X-ray this morning about cats and about Egyptians used to worship cats.
Yes.
Best.
Right.
Best.
Do you know the reason why they got 9 lives? This was someone's theory, and I thought that's quite interesting.
Stop licking my tuna. Stop licking my tuna. Okay.
9 times.
Yeah.
Because the 9 lives means that they can see in 9 dimensions, which is why the Egyptians worshipped them, because they could see every single thing in 9 dimensions, which is why they worshipped cats.
Yeah.
But saying that, the other video after it was that the Sphinx is not a Sphinx, the Sphinx is a dog, because the nose has been cut off.
Oh yeah.
Things like that.
I mean, I think, yeah.
Theories.
It used to be
There
a
are so
line,
many
but
things, who knows?
yeah, but there was
what's
they said it was a line, but then you got changed. And I think there was another one which the original face, and it was one of the gods of the Anunnaki.
Yes,
So-
I saw that.
Yeah, I used saying the same thing. So again,
And a lot of them have reptilian kind of heads, snake heads.
Yeah.
Which is another thing you see in a lot of places all around the globe, even in London. You know, snake-headed beasties or whatever, statues.
Well, the one thing we do know about the pyramids, the 3 pyramids in Egypt, Giza and the other 2, they're all perfectly mathematically aligned. And
To Orion.
yeah, to Orion.
So
Well,
how do they
was
precisionally
there,
cut
not
that
now.
to line up with the... But the Orion then was in a different star position
Yeah.
to what it is now.
Yeah.
So,
It was in a different place in the sky. It's still at the same, just at a slightly different angle.
some say that Giza is, the Pyramid of Giza is actually directly parallel with Polaris. It's directly underneath it.
same Stonehenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all lined up.
Shouldn't be now though.
No.
no, because I said that was it off. You know, was it off now? But you need to take into account the tilt and wobble of the Earth.
Timeline shifts and stuff like that as
Yeah,
well.
time shifts and, of
Constellation
course,
shifts,
and the constellation shift. Because although they look to us, they're always in the same place. You've got to take into account that, you know, the infinite size of the universe, and you know, well, they quote thousands of miles per hour, whatever the planet's spinning at, whether faster planet's going around the sun.
If you
And
believe,
so, yeah,
that,
if that's your belief, then.
that's the belief system.
So although that, you know, it says, oh, it's such a fast speed, but in the grand scheme of the cosmos, it's snail's pace. You know,
Relative, isn't it?
yeah.
Well,
It-
as you
it-
say, time is only relative on this
Yeah.
on this planet, on this realm.
Well, time doesn't exist anywhere
It
else.
doesn't,
No.
it doesn't really, no.
No, but funny, I was on that conversation that day with someone I picked up about what we do. You know, about time being a construct that only really applies to humanity.
Of course he does.
You know, once your spirit, time's irrelevant.
Yep.
You know, and so many other species that are at that time is irrelevant.
The idea is, if you was camping out in the woods and you had a month to live out in somewhere like, let's say Canada, right? In the woods there during the warm periods, let's say for example, and you've got a tent, you've got enough food, you've got supplies. What's the last thing on your mind? Time. Because what are you going to do? Oh, I'm going to go for a swim today. Go out, go cut some wood down, go and get some firewood, start a fire, cook your food. You ain't worried about time. It's only in the modern world that we worry about time.
And we're always chasing it.
But that's what we're taught anyway.
Yeah.
That's what we're brainwashed to believe. Time is a constant, you know, factor in
Yeah, we
things.
believe that time is linear, don't we? And
Yeah,
it's,
that's
it's
right.
not. It's
That's right.
it's concurrent. So everything is happening now. There is only ever now, isn't there? Yeah. No, what I've just said doesn't exist anymore, and what's coming isn't here yet. So there is really only now.
Yeah. So you can
That's too
live
big
for us
for our
today.
little brains
To comprehend.
to comprehend. Yeah, it's just too big for us.
Well, this
And
is
it's,
the theory of what they do. They make you feel guilty for your past, which is why there's a lot of mental health because people can't get over it. So if you take away time away from that and don't worry about your past, surely you'd be living in the moment, wouldn't you? Surely.
That's what mindfulness is about, and meditation.
Yeah, because it clears the vents, all the negative and the past. Because one theory that some woman on Twitter said years ago that I thought was really interesting, there's a reason why your neck can only turn 180 degrees, so you don't look back. You keep looking forward and you keep looking to the side to remember where you've been, to identify where you've been. You know, you have to really turn around to look back, but that takes energy. So why that's why your head can only do 180 degrees.
We don't need to look back. We're top
No.
of the food chain, aren't
No.
we? So,
Exactly, we don't need to look back.
Well, theoretically.
well, yeah.
Not unless
if we
you're in-
didn't have houses and guns and
Not,
cars and we didn't take over the world, then
There's-
no,
there's
we
two-
would definitely not be at the top
there's
of the
two
food chain.
there's two exceptions of being top of the food chain. One in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean with loads of sharks.
Or two in the Canadian wilderness when you're camping.
No, and
Yes.
two in the middle of Brixton while you're holding your mobile phone and a handful of cash.
Can't say I've ever been to Brixton, so I
Sorry.
don't know.
Brixton's a lot better these days.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Streatham, mate, but
Yes, Streatham, Catford.
Catford, I used to live there, so I know. I know.
Anyway, but
Yeah.
go slightly off. So those.
As always.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, but with the pyramids, you know, and other the 7 ancient wonders of the world lined up with different star systems, they might appear slightly off now because of that, of the way the Earth tilts and wobbles, and you know how the grand universe, you know, that slowly moves over time. So,
Good evening. The only way is crazy media.
hello, Crazy
Hello,
Media.
Crazy
Good
Media.
evening. Yes, tonight we're
Evening,
yeah, this is our
Crazy
first
Media.
round table, and we are discussing Egypt and the pyramids and so on, and yeah, interject with your thoughts and
If you like to
any
chime
questions.
in,
Yeah,
please be free to do so.
yeah,
The one thing I don't know about you lot. One thing that we do know about the pyramids is they were covered in limestone with a gold.
Yeah.
Gold.
Gold top.
Yeah.
yeah.
They were
I would
beautiful.
have loved to have seen a picture of that or
Ooh,
seen
me
evidence
too,
of it,
me too.
because that must have looked in the sunlight with that sun on the limestone. That must have been beautiful to look at.
What were they? Were they?
I don't
think
know.
They were, do you think they were power generators?
I
Do you
think there was something to do with the-
ley lines.
The sun, because if you remember Pyramid of Giza, right? They a few years ago they uncovered a trench that went to one of the sphinxes, and it was a water trench, and it was bricked, like in stone, and it was a channel for water, come right outside, out from the internals of the. So
Nile.
what if it was just a massive, great water heater from the sun? Because they used to bathe in Egypt. It was hot over there, but they wanted hot water. They couldn't bathe in cold water, could they? I mean,
it's not going to be that warm.
they like their luxury. But if they had this massive pyramid, say for example it was created just as an energy heater, a boiler. You think of the gold, which is conductive,
Well, that's
and the
yeah,
limestone.
There's a big conductor in it. Gold.
And there's 3 chambers in there, all connected by. What if they filled that with water, or there was some way of getting water up there, and they would actually heat the water, and it would go down that channel to the Sphinx for them to all to bathe in? I don't know.
Or to make tea.
Tea? That's an expensive bloody tea maker. Oh no, it was made by Breville, wasn't it?
Well, they didn't have urns in those days.
Who's heard?
A friend of Eric.
The
Oh,
fastest
yeah.
movement in the way.
Ernie?
Yeah,
Yeah,
No,
and he
let's
climbed
not-
the
let's
highest,
not do this.
and he
Oh,
climbed the
God.
highest pyramid in the east.
yeah.
I'm really sorry for even bringing that up. What
Yes.
I will say about Egypt,
Oh, you're not, eh?
and not just Egypt, but all the places around the world that had similar carvings and worshipped in the same way and believed in life after death and had carvings of weird creatures that we no longer recognise, is that back then we weren't stifled by technology or restricted by this, or we weren't fed with chemicals, and we weren't disturbed by EMS in the way that we are now. So we were just open to other dimensions and other species.
Well, believe
So if an alien turns
yeah.
up and goes, right, I'm going to help them make the pyramids, we're not going to go, oh my God, it's an alien. We're just going to go, oh yeah, right, mate, then I'll see you in the bar later and have a chat about it, you know?
Yeah,
I really believe there's a portal system there.
quite odd, yeah.
Definitely, like Stargate. I think there's lots
We
of
don't need a portal.
truth in these things.
There's
you
2
know,
other
so-
theories what's underneath the pyramids, right? Now, one is that you've got alien ships. One theory is you've got alien ships underneath, and they're basically teleportation devices. That's one theory. The other theory is it's basically, if you like, the roof of an underground civilization. Whether or not you believe in the Anunnaki and reptilians living underground,
I actually
that would
do,
be
yeah.
a heat source for them, like a solar panel, say for example.
Yeah.
But it's not been used in how many years because obviously the limestone's gone away. That's another theory.
Yeah, that was one thing I was going to say. Regarding the humans of back then wouldn't have been afraid of aliens because they was more open.
Yeah.
But at the
Yeah.
time, it was the aliens or the Anunnaki.
Other dimensions.
They were responsible for the humans being there in the first place. So to them, they're not aliens; they're our creators.
But what if ancient Egyptians wasn't human? Because
Yeah,
you look at the
see
dress they wear.
elongated-
Yeah,
All that headdress.
The
The
headdresses
elongated
were
heads
designed
as
to
well.
disguise or cover up the elongated skulls.
Yeah,
Yes.
elongated heads. Yeah.
So
And that's the reason why when they said, what happened to the ancient Egyptians? Because
Do
they
we know
went
that?
back to their place where they go,
Very
or where they
much, yeah.
live.
if it's the Anunnaki, they then went to other parts of the planet.
Like South America, you got the Incas,
Yeah.
you got the Aztecs,
Yeah.
temples. You know, there's so many.
Then
places.
to come up to Greece, and that's where we've got the Greek gods.
Yeah.
And then come up to North Europe.
Yeah,
So that's
Stonehenge. Yeah,
so
all this, yeah.
The Northern Europe is then Odin and Thor and
Yep.
So they've moved about. Whoever went to
Yeah.
Asia,
Yeah.
Central Asia, the Far East. So they spread out. Hence why although we're all humanity, there's different species of humanity. If that makes sense, because we don't all, we're all humans, but we don't look alike.
Question for you:
Yeah.
hieroglyphics, just elaborate artwork or prophecies?
Well, it's communication. It's first
language.
communication.
It's pictograms, isn't it? It's like
Because I tell you the reason why. If you watch one of those documentaries, there's a good one on Discovery Channel, which you got to take a pinch of salt, but there's one on there that shows that there's certain time periods in each part of the pyramids, right, of hieroglyphics in certain of the tombs, and the top one has got pictures of Apache helicopters and guns and spaceship discs and people holding laptops and stuff like that, which could be just a stone tablet that people were chiseling on or chalking on, whatever. But you look at those pictures, they actually do match modern times. But they get up to a point where there's a big flash, a big mushroom cloud, and then there's nothing after it.
Yeah,
I
and
watched
it's
a
a
documentary
reset.
about this, and those Apache
Mayan
helicopters
calendar.
they've been carved over the top of the originals. They've changed the original pictures, and I don't know if that's true any more than I know if what you watched
Well,
is true
NASA
because we just don't know anymore.
And NASA does a lot of that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does.
And it
I think
depends.
NASA might be noticed going into the pyramids doing that.
Yeah, well, NASA's been disbanded. Disbanded, that's the word, thank you.
Decommissioned.
They were disbanded in November last year, weren't they?
Yeah, they were, yeah. Called it Space Force, anyway.
Well,
So
SpaceX,
it depends who'd done that documentary.
yeah.
Whether they were saying that to put us off. So well, as I say,
See, I
don't know.
wonder, is it
No,
possible
no, it's-
that we could just have been really intelligent and we've just gone backwards? You look at how good the Romans were.
Well, when you
The
look
Romans
at,
came over here to the UK, they gave us viaducts, they gave us roads, they gave us civilization, and then the Saxons turned up and we went back to how we used to be.
yeah, but yeah,
Because that's how we preferred to live.
What
Yeah,
the
the
It
Romans-
was
as well,
forced
didn't you?
upon us.
Yeah, not when you've got a car though.
I would love to believe in Atlantis.
you had Atlantis, a
But there isn't actually
Gartha,
any evidence for it
you had a
yet.
Gartha,
yeah,
this,
Apart from that circle
Oh, the Sahara.
in if you go along to Egypt, then turn broadly right. It's up there.
You got the eye of the Sahara.
That might be what it is, but apparently,
Which does remarkably
I did-
match what's been described.
and I remember studying Atlantis when I did classics at school for my options, but apparently it's not entirely correct. And
is anything
when people when people really want something to be what they want it to be, they bend the facts slightly or change the measurement. So unless you go and look at it for yourself and match it to what Plato wrote, I don't
do
know.
your own research.
Exactly, I'm not
It's
going to.
just,
Yeah.
I mean, the evidence of Atlantis, but
But it makes
where-
sense that it would be covered in mud, not water. It wouldn't be underwater, it was a flood.
yeah.
So as the water receded, it would have left mud behind.
But is there anything there which would have evidence that there was stuff from the water which shouldn't be there? It's like when they found
Yeah.
the
Well, that
they
part was
found
like was water at one time. It
Yeah.
had the sea, didn't it?
what they believed to be the Noah's Ark.
Yeah, they found out
mountain in
recently,
Turkey,
couldn't they?
wasn't it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
despite it being up in a mountain, they found evidence of marine creatures up there.
I'm very confused by Noah's Ark because nothing, it was like Noah's an amazing person. He saved all these animals, there was a flood, and along came a bird, carrying a leaf, and they all knew they were heading for dry land, blah, blah. No one actually said, there's nothing in the Bible about the story of him travelling the entire earth to pick up 2 of every animal. Where was that big, massive bit of the story that would have taken years for him to do?
Again, there's several theories on that. It's the one is they weren't actually animals but DNA samples, which is what we've got now. There's I can't remember, it's probably in the States, but there's a place which has seeds of every kind of plant going.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So
Sweden,
a similar
that's in a
type of
bunker in Sweden.
I
Yeah,
was going to say
Oh,
Norway,
that's it.
but close.
Sweden, yeah.
yeah. So there's a bunker that has
Or Switzerland, sorry,
that,
Switzerland.
that holds seeds of every kind of plant going. So the probably true of DNA samples of every kind of creature got hold
No,
of.
it is Norway.
So that could be.
There's one in Switzerland as well because it's in the cold room.
No, not Norway. Iceland.
Because it's actually built into the rock face of the mountain,
That's right.
and what they've done, because it's so cold, it preserves everything. So
There's another thing I watched recently which suggested that Noah was actually Enki's son.
Well, Enki, oh right, so Enlil, what, because you had Enlil and Enki,
Yeah.
right? One good, two brothers or whatever.
Yeah. One was
Fighting against each
yeah,
other.
that was it. So we're just carrying on whatever was okay. But anyway, so again, all this stuff just spawns out of Egypt, and you know, because we had the start with, which is Sumerian, I think was the first civilization.
Sumerian, yeah.
So yeah, what you're saying, like we have these points in civilization where we get up to a bit, and then a cataclysmic event happens, and then we get sent back to the Stone Age or whatever.
Isn't one of the gold
Maybe you
tops?
just haven't learned enough.
Isn't one of the gold tops of one of the pyramids supposed to either be in the Vatican or in the Louvre in France? You know they made that glass pyramid.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're supposed to be, the bottom point is supposed to be a proper gold,
Oh.
like mini pyramid, and it looks like it's a top of something. And I'm sure it was in the Vatican for many years, but they moved it when they built the Louvre in France.
Right.
They put it in the basement, and they put it at the point where the pyramid meets
Yeah.
the point. Now that's an ideology. That's going to be for some reason they've done that.
Yeah. That's, I'm just going to take an extract from God to the New Millennium, which came out in 96, 97.
Yes.
Alan Alpha. Khufu fraud. Now, what it says, in April 1988, American television viewers were subjected to an outrageous program on the Giza pyramids. The show, entitled Mysteries of the Pyramids Live, was hosted by Omar Sharif,
Yes.
interviewing a supposedly expert Egyptologist in front of millions of viewers. The expert stated, "We know that the pyramids were built by the ancient Egyptians 5,000 years ago." That sweeping statement was followed by the alleged proof, a royal cartouche of Khufu's name painted inside the Great Pyramid. Upon hearing the expert's explanation of the cartouche, Sharif gratefully exclaimed, "So proof that Khufu did build the pyramid. So much for ancient astronauts." Because of course at that point, I think Eric von Daniken, I think Eric and Zacharias Sitchin were coming up with the ancient astronaut theories. So anyway, as we should soon see, the American public were provided with total disinformation by Mysteries of the Pyramid Live. But before dealing with the alleged proof of by cartouche, let us examine the other evidence often cited in support of Khufu's pyramid. In the 5th century BC, the Greek historian Herodotus, I said that right, returned from a visit to Egypt, claiming that the 3 pyramids of Giza belonged to Khufu, Khafra, and Menkora. Yeah. What else? Can't I just call John and Bob
And George and
That'd
Jeff,
be
yeah.
so much easier.
Wouldn't
Anyway.
be exciting.
Yeah, it wouldn't be, no. Herodotus may have been a great historian, but evidently he relied on the word of his hosts, the Egyptian priests. How do we know that they had told him the truth? Herodotus' claims are recorded as facts by all our history books, but what are the real facts? First, there is no evidence whatsoever to suggest that Khufu was a particularly well-known pharaoh. The textbook admits that very little is known about Khufu. This is totally at odds with the suggestion that he built the Great Pyramid, which, as I've demonstrated, is a far superior to any other pyramid built in Egypt. Surely such a structure would have hang on, let's get the page right. Where are we? There we are. Would have one Khufu respect and more than a passing mention in Egyptian history, and yet there are no exaltations, no records of mighty deeds, not even a single statue that can definitively be identified as representing Khufu. The second fact is that, curiously, none of the other historians from antiquity who visited Egypt ever mentioned a pharaoh named Khufu. None of those other historians claim to know the name of the builder of the Great Pyramid. And then we've got The third suspicious fact is that although Herodotus was able to name the builders of the Giza pyramids and to state the time taken to construct the pyramids and its causeway, he could offer no convincing explanation as to how it was constructed nor the purpose for which it was built. He therefore left the most interesting question unanswered. Other than the word of Herodotus, there is only one single piece of evidence that the Great Pyramid may have belonged to Khufu. A painted cartouche of Khufu's hieroglyphic name found inside the pyramid by an English archaeologist, Colonel Howard Weiss. God, he's English and his name's buggered.
Yeah.
Weiss or Weiss, I'll say Weiss. Well, Colonel Weiss is spelled V-Y-S-E. First went to Egypt, Weiss, yeah. First went to Egypt in 1835. The idea that the Great Pyramid belonged to Khufu was already well established, although direct evidence was totally lacking. One can imagine Weiss's frustration 2 years later to have found no inscriptions whatsoever inside the Giza pyramids that connected them to any of the pharaohs. Driven by a frustration and ambition, Weiss then proceeded to have a cartouche of Khufu's name forged, a most unlikely place, an enclosed space between the giant granite slabs above the king's chamber of the Great Pyramid. And how do we know this? Due to a long overdue and thorough investigation in 1980 by Zechariah Sitchin, I will now summarise the overwhelming evidence cited by Sitchin. How can we be so sure of a fraud by Weiss? The most damning evidence against him is a series of errors in the various markings and cartouches which were found daubed in red paint. Incredible as it may seem, the first suspicions of a fraud were raised in 1837, shortly after the discovery was made. Weiss had sent copies of the cartouches to the British Museum for confirmation. It was always been assumed that the opinion of its hieroglyphs, expert Samuel Birch, supported the reading of the cartouche as Khufu. This was not the case, and in fact Birch expressed many doubts. In particular, he noted that many of the marks were curiously indistinct and that some of the symbols were highly unusual, never found in Egypt before or since. He was also puzzled by the style of the script, which did not begin to appear in Egypt until centuries later. Some of the symbols could only be matched closely to the ones appearing 2,000 years after the time of Khufu. Birch even found a symbol of an adjective used as a numeral, a basic grammatical error. It is also little known that Birch found the names of two pharaohs in the inscriptions, a fact which he was totally unable to explain. He concluded the presence of this name as a quarry mark in the Great Pyramid is an additional embarrassment. This did indeed embarrass the Egyptologists, for it fundamentally called into question the authenticity of the inscription and the conclusion that the pyramid belonged to Khufu. The matter has conveniently been left unresolved for over 150 years. Subject to the above provisos, Birch concluded that the royal cartouche could be read as that of Khufu. The worst error made by the forgers was in the royal cartouche of Khufu itself. In the 1830s, Egyptology was in its infancy, and the forgers had to rely on the few specialist books which had been published. No one was exactly sure what Khufu's cartouche should look like. One of these books, Materia Hieroglyphica, how do I pronounce that one? By Sir John Gardner Wilkinson, a standard reference work at the time, was constantly referred to in Weiss's diaries. Unfortunately for Weiss, Wilkinson's work was subsequently shown to contain various errors. In particular, it confused the sign of KH with the sign for the solar disk representing Ra. The royal name found inscribed in the Great Pyramid contained exactly the same mistake. With the benefit of hindsight, we now know that the name found by Weiss incorrectly used the solar disk, giving a reading of Rarufu rather than Khufu. As Zechariah Sitchin has pointed out, this would not only have been an inconceivable error for an Egyptian scribe of the time, but it would have been blasphemy, since Ra was one of the foremost gods of the ancient Egyptians. Yeah, and it goes on quite a bit, but yeah, that's in a nutshell. They were saying it was the tomb of Khufu when the evidence pointed completely opposite.
So they lied.
Yeah.
Basically. Which
So that inscription that suggested it was Khufu was wrong.
so which base?
Yeah, Khufu, and you had Khufu and Khafre, didn't you?
Khafre was one of the. You had the three pyramids, Khufu, Khafre, and.
Because I'm reading the official Pyramids Guide, which is actually on not Wikipedia. This is actually a thing, and they're saying that the Great Pyramids were built by workmen, professional workmen, not slaves, despite claims of the famous Greek historians. Entire towns were built alongside the pyramids, which you can see from Google Earth anyway. Where farming families often worked by the pharaoh's amazing building projects while waiting for the crops to grow. In recent years, archaeologists have found evidence of these towns' professional builders and stonemasons and their tools. Work cemeteries have been excavated close to the pyramids of Khufu and Khafre, which have also been explored in Luxor and the Valley of the Kings.
Right.
Yeah.
And according to the official guide, 2.3 million tonnes of limestone was actually used to cover the pyramids. Polished limestone.
And they brought that from
So do we
various
not
places.
believe that, or do we believe it?
Now this is their official guide. I'm just telling you what the official.
Yeah, I know, but see, I'm very confused because
I don't see how a human being with a wooden pole and some stone wheels could have lifted those blocks, which are like 30, 40 tonnes.
This is because you assume they're using a pole and stone wheels, but
They're supposed
they
to
had
use
access
the
to
Nile,
tons
wouldn't
of
they?
water.
They're supposed
They
to
had
use
rope.
the Nile.
You know, you can look at some buildings even now, and they start at the top, and they build under, and they lift, and they build under, and they lift.
What was the
and they
strongest
build
thing
under.
back in Egyptian times that they could use?
Absolutely no idea. I wasn't there.
Wood. There was nothing else available, as far as we know.
Water is
So how the hell do they get those stones pushed up on top of each other with precision perfect?
Perhaps they started at the top.
Mathematically, each side of that pyramid is mathematically correct.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
No
But
human
but
could have done
my
that.
point wasn't about who built them. My point is, on there, the official line that we don't believe is talking about limestone.
Oh, someone in there.
But you were saying earlier that you.
I do believe they were white, covered in limestone.
So why would they say that and then add lies at the end?
It's saying that on the pyramids are actually white, and that was due to polished limestone.
Yeah.
But they're saying it had a polished limestone cap.
Okay.
Well, I believe that if it was supposed to be some sort of heater with the way the channel comes, I'm looking at Google Earth now, and you can see the channel coming from Giza Necropolis right the way down to the actual Sphinx, and there's a big channel that goes down which would have carried water. Nothing else would have carried down there.
Why
Unless
they
it was
built the
blood,
pyramids
but who
there
knows?
Because they needed water.
Unless it was sacrificial chamber and they carried blood down there, I don't know. But to me, it would say with water because it's so close to the Nile.
Right, so what has power? Water.
Yeah.
You say the strongest
But,
thing they had was.
but water has a resonant frequency,
Well,
doesn't it?
You-
And water
you
is
can still
conductive.
use water to lift. You can use water to do a whole manner of things.
But water is conductive. Water is
What's that
also
to do with lifting bricks?
yeah. But if you covered it in limestone, if you built it, covered it in limestone, and had water going through there, water then becomes conductive.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how they built them.
No one
You
knows.
said the strongest thing they had was a pole and a
But that's
stone
only
wheel.
an opinion.
Yeah.
Looking back at the technology they had, there's no
But we
physical
don't
way.
know. They might have had more technology than we realise.
Yeah, maybe.
In
A human
3,000
being,
or
no way.
4,000 years' time, people might say, "There's no way the Romans did that. That must have been built by so and so and so and so." Because how did they build those aqueducts? How did they even think about heating the floor from underneath? But we know. Well, we accept that that's what the Romans.
Where did they
did.
get the technology from?
Who?
Where did they get the technology to build them?
Well, the Romans.
No, the Egyptians.
Well, they didn't do that.
We all know that Egyptians were an ancient race of non-humans.
Do we?
In theory, yes.
Opinion.
They were far more advanced than what we are today.
But Romans were far more advanced than the Saxons, but they still came before the Saxons. My point is there have been dips and troughs all through humanity. I'm not saying that the aliens weren't involved. Could have been anyone who built the pyramids.
Yeah.
But if you look at history, there are dips and troughs in our intelligence. Right now, we're making leaps and bounds in technologies, but in a few thousand years' time, we might be back to being cavemen.
Of course.
And then
But
they'll be
that's an
saying, well, where did we get it?
I mean,
That's an assumption.
No, I said no.
we say that the Romans were so much more advanced. They were in many ways. But then you've got what they call the Dark Ages, which is basically what they describe as a period of history where there's very little information recorded. And then you've got the the Vikings and the Anglo-Saxons, the Vikings were advanced navigators.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
Good evening, Jeff and Karen.
hi, Jeff and Karen.
Hello, Jeff and Karen.
They circumnavigated.
You right, love?
didn't they?
Yeah.
Drew a lot of the maps as well, didn't they?
Yeah, the Viking World Tour of 793 or whatever.
Very
it was.
good navigators.
But yeah, how did they know how to build these boats, which were as comfortable on the open sea as they were going up the river?
Yeah.
Exactly.
How do they navigate? So again,
They did.
they were, the Northern Europeans, or what we class as they're not even called Vikings. It's going on a Viking because you're going on an exploration or you're going on an adventure. But see again, that's how did they suddenly get the technology to navigate?
And they used the stars as well.
Yeah, well, they knew how to use the stars to navigate from.
But how do they know to make a sextant to actually use the stars?
Yeah. And they had a lot of what do you call it, soothsayers or shamans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, every culture had this.
I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to go into it and the technology behind it. But there was
Where
a good,
did they get that from?
there was a good theory, right,
Yeah.
that someone actually proved that a sextant can only work on a flat plane. I'm getting into that argument, but I'm just saying it can't work on a curve. But that's all this thing says, and it's a really good, interesting. They use the stars to align with a straight line. It's field of vision, isn't it? It's vision. It's actually a straight line. It's line of sight, and that's how they plot their angles using that sextant
They
with the
didn't have
stars.
satellites and things like
No, they didn't. Didn't have GPS.
GPS.
So yeah, we did have the knowings and the doings, and even now there's certain things that we do now which we got from that time ago. Yeah, but I mean, but moving those blocks, and possibly the Romans might be able to do it as well. There's something forgetting. Resonant frequency.
Frequencies. That's a good one.
Using using a particular frequency, and you can make a 20-ton block be as light as basically as light as a feather. You've got that guy in the States who built that garden. He done it himself, and these blocks are they weigh several tons each, and he done it himself.
So you didn't have help from aliens.
But see, as much as aliens have, ancient astronauts have been involved, and in
It's been depicted all over the place.
yeah, I mean,
Different.
So we're all connected, aren't we? We're not just connected on
No,
this
no.
planet, we're
No,
connected
that's
to the
what I mean.
cosmos.
We're
We're connected to
we're
everything.
infinited connected.
Yeah, we're all made of star stuff.
there's certain, in amongst us, and we're all intelligent, and we've all got a different gift, whatever it may be. But you'll get certain people like, I mean, Tesla's a prime example, of people who just work out how to do things. That guy was one that worked out how to use a sound resonance frequency to be able to move and lift heavy blocks.
Yeah.
And we've got those guys that have been gone on the Wi-Fi's, have been able to extract energy from nowhere.
Exactly. Perpetual energy.
Yeah.
And also the guys that actually, there's a few guys that have done actually hydrogen engines. Would have actually used the hydrogen gas to actually fire a normal combustible petrol engine.
So why couldn't they have just used perpetual energy to make the pyramids?
Because where's the money in it?
Pardon?
Oh, to make the pyramids, yeah, could well have done.
We don't know that.
No, we just don't know.
No,
What
exactly, we don't know, we really don't know.
What we
We're
do,
really in the dark.
what we do know is they were capable of making a battery. You got the Baghdad battery,
Yeah.
as an example. And from some of those hieroglyphs, it appears that there's the little Egyptian guys walking along with a freaking fluorescent tube, with no apparent means of connection to a power source. So, and Tesla's proved you can.
I believe that was E for energy. I believe that was E for energy.
Tesla's proved you can send energy wirelessly.
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah.
We do now.
Yeah,
That's basically
we
what
do now.
Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi is actually based on. I mean,
Yeah.
the frequency is 2.4 gigahertz, is what most things use now.
See, it's vibrating.
You can send power over
It's
it.
vibrating at certain frequencies.
And we've lost the ability to do that.
You can create energy in different vibrations.
But we can't anymore. We've lost the ability to do that. We don't live in a
Or-
world that
or
allows
it's
that.
a lost
Or
technology.
that's been erased from us.
But when you
I
say
was-
technology, it makes it
I'd
sound
like
like
to be-
something outside of us.
Yeah.
It's not. It's,
I'd like to think it'd be
it's within
taken from us.
Yeah.
Well, it's been
We-
taken, hidden, erased, brainwashed.
Well, we've
and
had-
diminished.
There's no money in it.
Yeah, we've had these resets. Everything that's made us, you know, a higher level of human has been removed. And
Well, the next one's supposed to be 2040, isn't it? Because it was 1902 and it's 138 years every
Look,
reset. So.
But the human race is very powerful.
Mm.
When we're together, when we work together,
Yep.
we are very powerful. We've
don't want
got
that.
so much energy, power within our brain. We only use 20% of our brain power. Remember this.
Yeah.
Right? And the other, 80%? What happened to that? What?
We still use it. We only use 20% at a time.
We're limited. We've been
No,
had the
that's how-
limitations.
No, but we use all
in
of our
us.
brain.
Going off
We just only use 20% at any one.
Going
time.
off topic, there was one thing that I did read the other day on this. Oh, it was actually a video on TikTok, and it was about evidence to back up conspiracy theories, and it was but talking about the human brain. He said everyone goes to the left side, right side. He said, what if? He said, just putting this out there. What if the left side was the feminine, the right side was the masculine, and in the middle was the balance? Those blobs that you got in the back were the balance between the masculine and the feminine.
The blobs at the back.
I can't get the name of them. He did say the name of them. There's two balls at the back, isn't there? You know the two balls at the back
The
of the brain?
medulla
Oh,
oblongata.
That's the one. And where you got the left side and the right side, the left side's your feminine, the right side's your masculine. And the two orbs at the back are the balance between the two.
And I've heard there's
That's your personality and
and I've
ego.
heard there's 3 levels of
Just
brain.
theory that he thought
There's
was
3
quite
levels
interesting.
of brain, right? We've got the reptilian level,
Yeah.
which is the fight and flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got the middle part, which is the reasoning, and the top part, which is the upper intelligence. And,
Higher self,
Higher
higher
self.
intelligence, yeah.
and they're and if you connect them all, then they should work in unison, shouldn't they?
Mm.
But they don't, because some of it has been erased out of us.
But that's what I believe ancient Egypt had the power to do. Telekinesis,
I
telepathy.
think it's still
telepathy.
there. There's just
It's
too much.
dormant.
Yeah,
It's
there's
been
too
dumbed
much.
down, darling.
It's being destroyed.
We've
It's
been
not
dumbed
golden.
down. We've been dumbed down by fluoride.
Yeah.
Or what do you call it? The that thing in the middle. Can't find
Pineal
it.
gland?
Yeah, the pineal gland has been
Other pineal gland,
calcified. We've
What's
been
the bit
shut down. Our third eye's been shut down.
Yeah.
We've been
Church
blocked
gland.
every which way while they're doing the geoengineering shit. Excuse me, French, obviously. That has blocked us in many ways. Yeah.
Yeah, and back then,
And back
when
then,
the pyramids
they
were
didn't have
built,
any of that.
they
did
didn't
they?
have any of that. No.
No.
So there's no limitations then. How do you
No.
know? We've moved it with our
Stonehenge is
minds.
probably the same.
Yeah. Don't know this. Don't.
But even, you know, when we go back before, you know, for all these things,
Excuse me.
it's getting excited now.
My blood's boiling.
It's going, they're both pumping. So, even before, like, you know, what's going on with our environment is a way of keeping us subdued. I'd say before that is probably strict religious practices
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, running a spiritualist church, how that's affected us. I mean, the first thing you pressed when I walked into your church is the leaflets about saying about gifted children. You know, you wouldn't see that at any other church.
No.
Um,
We said that at
But I
Roman
don't
Catholic
like, I
Church.
don't, to be honest, I know it's a church and I know we are a religion, but it doesn't, being called a religion doesn't work for
I don't
me.
even-
It doesn't
Is it a
matter what
religion?
you
it
believe.
is a religion, though.
No,
Would you call it
doesn't
a
matter
re-
what you believe.
Would you call it a religion or a cult?
Neither. It's a movement.
That's the word I was looking for, movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the fact is, so you take Christianity or Catholicism
No thanks.
or Islam or any other religion, it seems to
Same
me,
from
if you believe what it says in this book and you worship in this way, you believe in God, whatever God it is, you'll go to heaven. If you don't, you'll go to whatever hell
Yeah.
they attribute to it. And we don't have that. It doesn't matter what you do in this life, it doesn't matter what you think or what you believe, you're still going to end up going through the same process because that is part of the physiological process of
Yeah.
having a life down here in the 3D.
So that this is.
So it's not a religion. You don't
No.
have to believe in God. You don't believe in anything.
No, just believe in what you. For
But
example,
we are a
I
religion.
yeah. I mean, as I don't know if I've said online, but I've definitely to you guys about the Bible. I don't look at it as a book for in religious context.
No.
I do not look at it like that. There's some very powerful information in
Yeah.
there.
It's a reference guide.
Yeah, it's a reference guide. But I do not. I've taken the religion away from it. When you do that, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts. I know everyone's different, but that's how I look at it. But what I want to get back to with the religion in the way of control,
I'll drink, really.
particularly, you know, if we're going back before times when we've not had all this, you know, all the being sprayed and, you know, all the EMFs and all that dumbing us down and what have you, and the shit in our food. You had strict religious practices. You know, there are strict things that come through religion. Whereas, you know, if I've used to come out and say, I've got a message for you from you, this day's uncle or auntie or whatever, you'd be like a heretic.
Yeah.
Do you see that's what I'm
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
say. If you're displaying gifts outside of the norm,
You're a witch
you're
or
done.
a wizard. Yeah.
You're done for.
Only 300 years ago, we used to get burnt, didn't we?
Yeah. Even looking,
Thanks to Matthew Hopkins.
yeah. I mean, even looking at, you know, my lineage was, as everyone knows, I'm of Viking descent, but the ability to practice, or the ability to do Viking practices or pagan practices, which they were, and contrary to what religion was saying, were not barbaric. You know, some of them were a lot more attuned to our planet than what structured religious practices were. But because you know, the religion of Catholicism was a strict no-no, and you'd be burnt or put to the sword or whatever. That got taken away from us, and it's only in the last 50, 60 years that's started to come through again, because some things are opening up. But for a long, long time, I didn't know about my past until 10 years ago. I started getting into it, but it's because of that indoctrination that we've had for the last few hundred years that has taken our roots out. So you're not allowed to know about your roots unless it has a religion.
Well, you know my theory on religion.
Mm.
I think religion's a bad thing.
It is, yeah.
Because how many people died in the name of a religion compared to anything else on this
And
world?
still are.
Yeah.
Still are. People dying today because of the name of certain people that they can't even prove existed. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, but this sort of going back. This sort of takes back to the time of Egypt, you know, and that era when humanity was able to do a lot more than what it does now. Because you know, they may try and say, oh, you know, Egyptian religion or cult or whatever, but it wasn't. They weren't dumbed down or subdued by any kind of religion or EMFs or whatever.
But surely,
They were more open and therefore be able to do more things.
from what I've read about all the Egyptian stories and stuff like that, across different types of genres and all that, back then it was acceptable for you to worship your own god, whether it was Ra, whatever other god. So no one was punished for worshipping their faction.
That's it. Yeah, although their gods would have been the likes of Ra and ISIS and all the rest of it.
But yes, but they never got punished for it. But now you get punished if you worship, if you're Muslim or you're Buddhist or you're Catholic, you get judged and criticised for your religion, which I don't. Back on Egyptians, right? They all had their factions and they would stay in their groups, but they had respect for the other factions. Like if you worship ISIS or Isis or Ra, you had your factions and you would meet and talk, but you wouldn't fight.
No.
You respected each other.
Exactly. But now, if you're Muslim and
it's more of a catalyst now. Isn't it?
Islamic or Christian, you're fighting.
It's more of a catalyst.
I mean, even you know, I mean, what Egypt now was a Muslim country. Isn't it?
Yeah.
They even fight amongst themselves, the Sunnis and the Shiites. Can't agree. And then you got the UTR Muslims as well, which are the Chinese are ethnically cleansing.
Yep.
So that's where we're at. But yeah, then was a different time where we were more open, so we was able to do things.
I think it's more that people had more respect for each other.
Yeah.
Because everyone had nothing, everyone was equal. Apart from the pharaohs and all that.
Yeah.
had the money and the gold, but they would lead their people into what they needed to be led into. But everyone was equal. Everyone had the same amount of food, same house, same type, and there was no judgment.
No.
Yeah. It's a shame that it's got to the state it's got to now, isn't it? And it's a wonder we're still here, to be honest.
So I'm surprised that humanity's
You know.
survived in 60 years.
I mean, what we're living through now, I mean, I thought I'd never see, I mean, you know, I thought I'd never ever see what's happening now. You know, when I was a kid, growing up in London, you know, you see what was happening now. I bringing my kids into this, I think, oh, you know, what.
Well, living in
future
East
they've
London, you know this. Living in East London in the early 80s as a kid, completely different time. There was no, yeah, there was dangers, but we wasn't aware of it, and we didn't care.
You could leave your front door open.
Yeah.
And, you know, your neighbours would come in and out and chat, you know.
Yeah.
Can't do that now, can you?
Do you know what? 8 years of my childhood, I was spent on the streets from summer holidays, 9 o'clock in the morning to 8:30 at night.
Yeah.
As soon as the street lights come on, go home. That's what Mum said to me.
Yeah.
Right? Not once was I chased, offered, or perved on.
No.
Right? No one cared. Everyone done about their business. No, people say, well, it wasn't around. Sorry, people never spoke about it. Maybe so, but I'm just going by my own experiences. People wouldn't. The interaction over people was playing knockdown ginger. I got the little bastard and all that, you know. Or you're bouncing the ball against their side of their wall or their house, and they're going, no, you
And then they
go away.
Yeah.
That's the only interaction I had,
Yeah.
apart from the shopkeepers.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I had.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to bring gender into this, but I'm sure it really is if you bring a little down.
Well, there was a group when we used to hang around. I used to hang around with the Deuces, which were an Irish family, and it was the two
I thought you
sisters.
said Medusas.
No, Deuces.
Gordon.
And I used to hang around with the two sisters and the three brothers, and there's loads of us as well. Not once did they ever get nothing.
Big groups, it's unlikely, but it did happen.
We never heard about it. Not where I was
But
from.
of course, we didn't have social media then. You know,
No.
something can happen over in Canada, and we hear about it 5 minutes later.
Didn't have no more mobile phones, either.
Oh,
No.
we had a curtain twitchers down our road.
It's not the same. It's
Oh,
not
they would have
spreading around
gossiped.
the world.
They were knocking on people's
Yeah,
doors, telling you, "Have you
in
heard
your
about
little
such and
town-
such doing
in your
this?"
little town, yeah, but not like we hear it now.
That's
I
local
remember.
thing, It's not national.
Huh?
It's a local thing, not national or international.
I remember once, we used to live in Walthamstow. Top of the road, there was an estate, right, and we used to sit there and have cigarettes and all that. And one of the women in there knew where I lived. She purposely went down, knocked on my mum and dad's door and told me I was smoking.
Good.
It was like 10 minutes walk. That's how bad it was.
It was like it when my nan and granddad were kids as well. They came about the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's changed. You don't have neighbours looking out for kids anymore. Not without being asked.
We used to have a Bobby.
But
Right.
there were still perverts out there. It's just we don't
Oh, maybe
know
so.
that.
It was just.
There are not more of them.
Maybe I was just lucky.
It's just
Maybe.
more
Yes.
obvious now, and it's more well known because
It's all come out of the
There's
woodwork
ways-
now.
No, the
That's
internet.
that as
The
well.
internet's brought it out.
yeah, we can find out what's happened in America in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
do that back then.
Even the other side of the
No
world.
history for
Any,
me.
any
Yes.
part of the any part of the
What
world.
would you like? An alcoholic or would you like a soft? Because you're not driving, so you can have
I'm
alcohol.
not driving.
No,
am I?
you're
So you can have
Oh,
alcoholic.
Go on,
I'll have an
get out.
alcohol.
Go on, get out.
Alcoholic.
I'm not under the influence of alcohol. Ossifer.
Drink a whole.
Yeah.
No,
Let your hair down. Oh, it's let your hair down.
The thing is, one generation always harps on about the generation before. My mum does. Oh, it was so much better when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know, my mum and her friend were practically kidnapped by a group of 4 Arabs down the seafront.
That's what she's
Wow.
saying, see?
They were walking down the
Arabs?
Council.
What, in the 60s?
Yeah, yeah, they were in 60s,
Wow.
about 15, 16. And, shit, 15 or 16.
If I knew
Yeah,
what
well, in
Southend
the
was
early,
back then.
about the early 60s.
Yeah.
And her and her friend were walking by the Curzal, and my nan and granddad were walking a few yards behind, and these 4 guys came out and just went at like 4 different points, and they hadn't really noticed. Thank you. And
Can I
they
have
were like
that?
closing
Yes,
in on them a bit, closing in
So
on a
I've got
bit, and my
any
nan
beers?
and
I've got
granddad
any
noticed, and they
beers,
were like, looking at each other and like signaling. And she went, "Oh, Jean, you ready?" And then they were gone, just disappeared. As soon as my name called my mum.
Yeah.
So it did happen then, of course it happened.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't as prevalent, but
Yeah,
I
it wasn't
suspect
prevalent,
it's
yeah.
that
I think
we
that's a
just
fear,
didn't know
is it?
about it.
Probably.
We
Yeah,
was
that's-
more
Well, I know.
Yeah, it's
kind
fine,
of
yeah.
oblivious to it, wasn't it?
Can I go ask for you what I can?
Oh,
Thing you-
okay.
you
Yeah.
I mean,
worry
it's-
about.
I'll go get some
What are we
keys.
saying? We can only be controlled by fear. We're afraid of perverts, we're afraid of war, we're afraid of certain
So-
countries that we're told to be afraid of.
Let's go back to the Egyptian stuff.
Yeah.
What do you reckon they were fearing?
Sorry?
What do you reckon their fear was?
What, the Egyptians?
Yeah. Because I don't think they had,
Rain.
I don't think they had any fear.
No, of course they did. Everyone's got fears.
No, I don't think they did.
No.
Because they were living in abundance. They were living in a golden era.
Fear of their masters, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but apart from
they
that,
were.
Of
it's
course,
always
it
been.
wasn't an equal society in Egypt at all. There would have been people in charge, and they would have likely
I
ruled
bet.
with a rod of iron.
Whoever they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching the thing about Cleopatra. The other day. She was a shitbag. She was
Yeah.
a sister.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
She was apparently not useful at all. She was just depicted as beautiful in films, but vanished in and out.
That was useful as a toilet brush, yeah.
Sorry?
That's pretty as a toilet brush, I think.
Oh, I thought you said, do you use her as a toilet brush?
I don't know, she might do.
Dead.
She might do, depends what she's like.
She
I've got a
wanna
toilet
bake
brush
the
that's
milk.
called Cleopatra.
I don't know. I
Cleopatra
think it's
baking
more like
milk
piss,
on
wasn't
its
it?
Yeah,
own.
Cleopatra baby milk, yeah.
Killed by an
All
ass.
those
Oh my
cats.
god.
It's,
Killed by a snake.
yeah, I mean, the pharaohs were the ones to be put in charge of things by the gods. So,
Yeah,
Yeah, but
they
after
were
them-
the ones talking to the gods as well, weren't they? So a bit, there might have been bias there. Oh, this god said I could be in charge, really? We better believe you then if God said it. I mean,
but if the god, and we're talking small g here, because that's what they were. They were gods in
they were
small
gods
g.
of things, weren't they?
Yeah,
So,
they were god. They were flesh gods, is what the rest of that book, Gods of the Millennium, he talks about flesh gods.
Yeah.
And
Yes, it was, yeah.
the god of the time would have decreed that Dave there or Sid there, they were to be the pharaohs, so they were the ones you were to answer to.
Mm.
So if God Ra says this pharaoh Dave is in charge, you listen to him because we're
Pharaoh
going.
Dave.
Pharaoh
Is that because you're
Dave.
not going to tackle any of the difficult
No.
names?
No, I'm not. No, they're just
Yeah.
Yeah.
That,
I've got
Yeah.
enough time reading them.
Pharaoh Dave. I think
Pharaoh
it's pretty-
Dave, Pharaoh Sid, you know.
Sydney. Yeah, that's
Yeah, well, fair enough.
Fair Bob.
fair enough.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? If actual God or actual flesh God that you know put us here in the first place to do their bidding, mind the earth and all the rest of it, if they said, right, this guy here, he's the one that's in charge when we're not here, because they wouldn't have been there all the
Yep.
time. You know, at some point they would have buggered off to another part of the planet, or you know, gone back to Nibiru, or their planet,
Yeah,
Tiamat
Nibiru,
or
yeah.
whatever.
Tiamat. Oh yeah, Tiamat doesn't exist now, does it? Exploded, didn't it?
Yeah. So that person was put into charge as decreed by God. That, you know, I mean, which is no different now to any other religion what's going on. You know, we've got
Ordained
that,
by God to forgive you, do some holy things.
yeah, I mean, we've got that Jesuit that's,
100 press-ups.
yeah, guy that's in the Vatican now. Yeah, I mean,
Not the thing that's in the Vatican, like
Mm.
what you mean, the Pope.
yeah, but you
That
know,
thing, yeah.
That
you know,
thing.
If
It
religion
is-
hadn't taken such a hold before government came along, it wouldn't be here. But they couldn't get rid of it because
Well,
people
every single
absolutely-
government relies on God, don't they? They rely on the actual religion
That's
of.
because the church was devised to control the masses.
Yeah, of course it would.
Yes.
And then
I
when
reckon.
someone came up with a great idea of having a government, the government didn't want the church anymore.
My
because
question
the church
is-
was too powerful. But
Well,
unfortunately,
I mean-
because the church was too powerful, and it's
but
absolutely
it was
entrenched in society, they couldn't get rid of it.
it was
And
the,
that's why the two work together.
it was the Romans that brought the church in as a, you know, as the
It's
state
not a
religion.
Christian church, Roman
No.
didn't believe in
Yeah,
Christianity.
no. The Romans brought in the
They
church.
were like
as-
gods and stuff.
Yeah. The Romans brought in the church, or the Roman Catholic Church, as the state religion to keep people in control, because the Romans were the overarching power of Europe. That's what kind of stuck, and it wasn't until well, I mean, in the rest of Europe it did, but because we were as an island separated by a bit of water, I think Henry VII was the first monarch to say, I've had enough of this.
Wasn't it really eight who changed it back to Christianity?
It was Henry VIII that
You got Paul chopping up off heads and decided to get.
I thought delightfully carried that thing of chopping off Catholics' heads. But
But his
yeah,
wife's heads, I mean.
oh, his wife, no,
Yeah.
yeah, cut two, I think. Was it two? Divorced
Sorry,
two?
was that 9.5?
No, it wasn't.
He only decapitated 2 wives.
Should have been 3.
Fine.
So it was the head of the game.
Should have been 3. The second one didn't listen.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
should have quit while they were ahead.
And he decided, right, that's it, I've had enough of the Catholic Church and I'm starting the Church of England. So,
I'm going to be ahead of the church.
yeah.
Head of the Church of England, in fact, yeah.
Now the question I want to know is,
everything.
if there was these living gods, flesh-like gods, Ra, Sirius, Isis, etc., etc., why the hell did they fuck off? Did they look at humanity and go, "You're beyond helping, we're off"?
Probably.
No, they've got their own planet sorted out and pissed off back to it. That was,
That's what I heard.
yeah. The Anunnaki came here because we were rich in minerals and precious metals and all the rest of it.
They were pirates, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, the Anunnaki had they were controlling a lower. There was a lower sect called the Agigi, I think. They were like the worker race for
worker race.
For the Anunnaki, and they initially got them to do all the hard work. The Agigi then rebelled, so
Booted out the Anunnaki.
yeah, and the Anunnaki is like, well, we want a more compliant worker. Hence why they created Adam and Eve. They then went to, start the human race.
So what was around before Adam and Eve then?
John and Roger.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jack and Jill.
Yeah.
Nice.
Adam and Steve. I don't know. I don't know.
Billy and Johnny.
Bob and
So,
Carriages.
well, but potentially, if it, we had evolved to Homo erectus, I think, and it was the Anunnaki that put that link in.
Yeah.
Or brought
Well,
us up
don't
to
forget, you had
modern human.
the Anunnaki, you had the reptilians all vying for control.
Yeah.
Right? And they both were good in genetic manipulation. So part of their genes are still we got reptilian genes in our body.
But what's changed now?
We're hybrid. Well, basically, I believe my belief is we're hybrids from these races.
Is
Back
there
then-
any evidence of the reptilians around, really? Apart from, Katy Perry's eyes becoming slitty, which could have been AI.
Well, the thing is,
Or some really dodgy mobile phone
when
footage.
you're created,
Pixelation.
have you ever seen the process when
Yes.
you get the embryonic stage?
Yes.
And we got a tail, we got webbed
Yeah,
hands,
yeah.
we got
We
webbed
look
feet,
like,
and then the mammalian genetics cut in, and that all disappears, doesn't it? And
yeah.
the webbed hands, we ain't got that no
We
more.
look like a tadpole to start with.
Yeah, that's right.
Then we look
Yeah.
like,
And the tails retract. We still got them.
I don't know. No, I can't remember.
But
Our
we still,
coccyx is the basis of our tail.
but yeah, and we
Yeah.
still got the reptilian brain. So yeah,
And
So you just want to go around eating people?
no, I'd rather have a
Keep it
bird.
clean, please. Keep it clean.
Rather-
Oh, really?
Just saying. When we talk about cannibalism on here, not the time cannibalism. Thank you.
Right, you would like to eat live creatures then because you are a reptilian.
Well, I'm not a vegetarian.
Do you like crickets?
I don't like
I
cricket.
used to play it.
Oh no,
I love it.
I love it.
Okay.
No.
Oh God, it's cricket with an S. Not
Ah,
cricket. Crickets.
I'm not knowingly eating
Oh,
one.
locusts. I bet you have.
No.
Oh, unknowingly, I bet you
I don't
have.
like anything like that. No.
Chocolate coated ants are weird.
Oh,
Are they?
No, thank you.
Never tried it.
Middle, they're
But
salty.
mind you, then again, most plant-based stuff is actually insects. So,
Well, I bought them in France. I thought they were chocolate
So-
raisins.
Let's
so you
on.
ate chocolate red ants?
Chocolate
Right.
coated ants. Those are chocolate coated ants. And I thought I was buying raisins because I didn't really speak French.
They're a bit crunchy, aren't they? Raisins, aren't they?
Yeah.
Crunchy, tangy.
I didn't
The
know.
first handful, I thought, oh, these raisins are off.
I didn't know raisins have got 8 legs.
Sure, they're not raisins. They're more. They're
Ah,
chocolate
technically they're
ants.
6 legs. isn't it?
6 legs. Sorry, 6 legs. I do apologise.
Ah.
And the chocolat.
But the other thing is going back to the reptilians is that they were here before the humanity was, which is
We're the aliens, if you want.
Yeah,
Truth is,
yeah.
humans are the aliens.
Well, we're Starseed, aren't we?
yeah.
We're not narrative to this
We're
realm.
on to
So
that
well,
stage again. Oh dear.
I'm
Yeah.
just confused by all of it.
So the reptilians had their time,
I think
and then
I just wanna live
some
like
of the
an
mammals,
unawakened person
okay.
again.
which is
I
you
don't
know
wanna
we sort of evolved,
do
but
my jobs, going on, you know.
it's a very complex construct that's been created
yeah.
for us
But,
to live in.
Well, you know what Klaus Schwab used to say? You'll own nothing and be happy.
And we will provide you with bread and clouds. Was it?
bread
Was
and
it?
circuses.
Bread and circuses. That's the word. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I've had a few drinks.
Circuses.
Bread and
I
circuses.
like circus. As long
We
as
can't
it's
kill
very
you with the
animals.
food. We can't get to you with your air. We can't get you with the water. We'll get you with your discernment for an addiction to everything that we put in front of you.
That's
Football,
why they give you football, gambling,
and
alcohol.
adult.
She said take another swig of JD and Coke.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sick of that.
Oh, cheers,
Cheers, mate.
It's to addiction.
I've got to say skull,
Skull.
but you need
JJ.
to remember, alcohol was here a long time before swap was.
Yeah,
Me,
Jesus made wine. He must have been pissed all the time.
he was. He must have been an alcoholic. What if he was an alcoholic? He just walked around just telling everyone what was going on in his head.
Peace, man.
Yeah, peace. Exactly.
great, oh, even better.
What if the tree of life was actually in? You can actually put it in a wristlet.
Sorry about it.
It could be.
Well, people are. Fine.
So
That's
yeah,
the main
then,
point.
but again, that goes back to Egypt actually, because mead.
We need to keep bring it back to Egypt, don't we? Because we do
Yeah.
go for the
We are talking about Egypt, allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but everything derives from there. Even the word amen
Yeah.
derives from there.
That's true.
Amen Ra.
That's it.
I thought
Yeah.
amen just meant so be it.
Yeah.
Motive
Yeah.
B is the
So
one.
be
Make
it
it
raw.
so.
The one you're supposed to be is
So-
motive B, isn't it?
Mote it be.
That's the one you're supposed to say. Motive B or so be it.
Yeah, the
So don't tell me the Masons are looking at it. Oh my God.
but yeah, mead,
Scary and all.
mead, Egypt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Meat?
Mm.
Did they make it over there then?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, so the introduction of alcohol came before.
Mead.
Yeah, mead.
Yes.
Skull,
Honey.
skull, skull.
So they were
Sorry.
getting us to be drunk and addicted way before
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much.
being
Yeah.
drunk and
They were-
addicted actually.
They were lining us up for it, mate.
They were.
Priming us, sorry.
So yeah, I mean, so does that mean that when we were open, we were able to move these big blocks with
Probably.
sound resonance and
Probably.
Who said sound? It could have been our minds that done it because we had no
Yeah,
restrictions.
my friend's
could have been that as well.
We had no
Telepathy, yeah.
restrictions.
my
No,
friend's
no
foster parent, I believe it was a foster parent, it might have been a boyfriend's mum, I can't remember. Used to get really angry, thank you. When she got angry, she used to make physical objects move. So
Mm.
things were, and
Yeah.
she said, I remember seeing things flying off the mantelpiece
Well, my mum.
where my mum-in-law was so angry.
Yeah.
She just like
Oh,
misused
right.
her energy, yeah.
Well, my mum, God rest her soul, right?
No,
She was
alive,
telepathic.
yeah.
She could hear what I was doing downstairs, and that slipper would go round bloody corners and come and hit me. When she threw that slipper, you could hear it
Boomerang.
bang like that. Seriously, it would go round corners. That slipper.
I think that just happens when you become a parent or a teacher, actually.
Yeah.
To be fair,
Yes.
it's not supernatural. It's survival. That is.
That's that blackboard rubber.
It's
You
the,
think
it's the carry effect.
That's the real reason why we had desk lids.
so you can
Lift
put
them
down
up.
on your fingers.
So you could do that.
Yeah.
Doing, deflecting,
Mister!
doing.
If it was quickly enough, that desk lid would go
It
up.
was. It wasn't a punishment. It was a test to see how fast your reflexes are.
I could still remember. Do you know, I could still remember. I think it was our English class, and we had a pen, and we put it in the lid, and you shut the lid, and the pen used to flip.
Hmm.
Well, we'd done it once.
So childish.
But we were
Take it
children.
any- you can take it
Yeah,
anywhere.
I used to sit there with
Yeah,
the
but
helix ruler and go.
Oh, you said,
The ruler twanging
you can
championships
flick things.
this year will be held in Dordogne.
Blotting paper.
It will be held in Dordogne.
Yeah,
Going,
I
yeah,
get
going,
it.
going, yeah, we get it.
But he'd done his pen one time and it went straight on the teacher's head. It's fortunate she was
Yeah, but
looking down at the time.
that was
because
from Egypt.
While we're on the subject
that
of
wasn't
schools,
that.
subject of schools, right? Now, a lot of information out there that conflicts with each other. They say the written word was invented 5,800 odd years ago, right? Which would have put you bang in the middle of the Sumerian times, ancient Egyptians, right? They used stone tablets and carved it.
Aramaic was the was that written language.
Exactly, right? So how do we know that how do we know we was around before that?
We don't know how far.
There's no written documentations or stone tablets or hieroglyphics or any form of Sumerian dialect or context, whatever you want to call
But
it,
there are buildings. Buildings.
I heard.
dates back
Like
more than
structures.
6,000 years ago.
Yeah.
I heard that the aliens were here about 466,000 years ago. 460,000 years ago. They were here.
So how long have we been here?
Well,
We introduced
Definitely
into
more
that.
than 6,000 years.
yeah.
Was we introduced to that this planet then? Who knows?
But what's your,
Stonehenge is 8 or 9,000 years.
but what's your
isn't it?
proof that we've been around here more than 6,000 years? What's your reference
What's
to
your
it?
proof? We haven't.
Just I'm putting out an idea there.
The
'Cause
fact that
I'm
Stonehenge
going
is,
by the
the
fact
fact that
that
Stonehenge is older than 6,000 years.
well, if you use carbon dating's been proved to be false.
And what about the tunnels? How long have they been here? I mean, some of them are the size.
Well, it
of
couldn't have
Australia.
been
You
Elon
know,
Musk's
like
boring company, could it? Because they
size.
wouldn't have done that many years ago. I know we've got things in a lot of pies, but
This is why they created the Bible. So people will believe this, that we have no history apart from Adam and Eve 6,000 years ago. They don't want us to know
No.
no, I don't.
how powerful we were before the invention of this book where
But that-
we're supposed to just obey it.
Yeah,
Because
that Bible, as I say, if you take religion out of the Bible, that then makes sense because that is describing our history.
Yeah.
The humanity as we know it now, that's our human history. We were put here by the Anunnaki, the gods, and that's what they were describing, Adam and Eve.
Now
That's a good
we
point.
get involved with
That's
it.
a good
Once-
point. It's a good point from Heather here.
Oh,
Or maybe the technology was different 6,000 years ago and we didn't use the written word. Because we didn't need. Because
Because we were more telepathic.
There
we
was-
were more
exactly.
encompassing, we were more
That's what I
Telepathy.
said. There was
Because
nothing.
the written word was supposed to be a work of the devil, apparently, according to certain things. It's a spell. It's witchcraft,
Oh,
apparently.
spelling.
Yeah. Spells, spelling, and communications. Written, the spoken word was supposed to be spellcasting,
So it's
and it was
fine with
witchcraft. Yeah.
There is, I mean, there is some sort of, there is some truth in that because, again, if we go back to the Vikings, the Vikings rarely recorded anything because it was all spoke. It was all,
Yeah.
well, you know, it was all spoken word. The stories and the sagas will be handed down.
I wonder how many years
That's
it would have
right. Same
taken
with
for us.
Native Americans. All the stories were handed down further.
Yeah.
I wonder
Yeah.
how many years it would have took, or decades it must have took to indoctrinate us to learn how to read and write. Because let's just say that back then they used symbols. They drew symbols in the sand or used rocks to simulate like battle plans or whatever they were doing. I wonder how it started with the written word. Because if it was only just less than 6,000 years ago, which is what the most ancient of books or tablets or stones, whatever, written word,
Well, like Dead Sea Scrolls and that.
yeah, they go back only 6,000 years ago. So what was we using beforehand?
We don't know.
Nothing. Cave drawings.
We don't know.
So yeah, we're using
Cave drawings,
caves.
carvings.
Yeah.
Humans have been on the planet apparently for 6 million years.
But
Yeah.
another theory,
So they couldn't record it with words, so they recorded it with drawings.
Yeah.
another theory,
And maybe, for all we know, there was another really advanced race that, or maybe we've had many advanced races in the last
Well, yeah.
6 million years. Because if you look at how much progress we've made in the last 200 years,
Yeah.
or even 100 years,
We don't
it's
know, do we?
astronomical.
here's
Compared to any other point in our history of 6,000 years ago.
a thought for you. What if that technology has been repeated? What if that technology was around pre 6,000 years
Of
ago?
course it was, because
And they,
we've always been
when they
human.
completely wiped and started again with us, what if
That's-
all this
yeah,
now,
see, I
That's
don't
what
believe
what
in
if all
the
this
whole
technology now is stuff that we had 6,000 years ago and we were using up to then?
Well, we did have
I don't
research.
see any evidence for
But there's no evidence of anything else.
No, I don't see any evidence.
It's
for
only a
research.
theory.
We did have great fires, like the Great Fire of London, so they
That was
say.
to get rid of the
We-
bubonic plague, wasn't it?
No, I
So
just
they-
think it was a whole reset. They had the Great Fire in America. They had
London wasn't
all over the
everything.
place.
Yeah,
The
Hev,
bubonic plague was pretty widespread.
yeah, it said even Hev turned around and said it only takes 200 years to go from a horse to a buggy and to a hadron collider, doesn't it?
So maybe
When you think how far.
certain people, particularly those in the higher echelons of our society now,
Yeah.
aren't subject to the things that we are, and they've still got all this. They've still got all the connections. They're just using them for the wrong reasons.
But what if we got too smart too quick and they wiped
They
us
won't
out?
let us.
That's
No, I'm talking about 6,000 years ago. What happens if we got too fast, too smart, too quick, right? And they completely started again and completely wiped us out and started again.
You know, that's what they're afraid of.
Resets, they
That's
call
what
them.
they're afraid of. They're afraid.
There'll be
that
no
if we-
evidence of us being.
That's what they're afraid of.
There is.
If we use all our, abilities, they'll be. No, they're done for.
If we
No,
unite, and we
Because
connect,
you'll understand this, Rudy.
they're screwed.
There was a great war between us and the Anunnaki.
Yeah.
We tried to overpower
Yeah.
the lands of Anunnaki.
Yeah.
If you talk about
So
the other
have-
realms, we tried to overpower them, but we lost. We were so close in winning. What happened if our punishment was to be reset, rewiped, and start again?
As the Archons.
Well, that was the Tower of Babel.
Or maybe the Bible is just
The
a
Tower
book
of
that someone
Babel.
wrote to control humanity.
Yeah.
The Tower of Babel. We were trying to reach the gods, and they brought it down, and then divided us by changing
Separate
all our
languages,
languages.
yeah.
They created all these different religions and all these different races.
Split us all up.
Languages, they changed
Yeah.
their languages so we couldn't communicate.
Here we go. Head to sport. I think a lot of great fires
And what
were
does that
used to wipe
represent?
out a lot of infrastructure, and
Yeah.
also a lot of wars was used for this purpose too.
There was also
We've got these ornate buildings coming out.
Yeah,
No.
going back further. I mean, going back much further.
Yeah, the
and,
roads.
and even this kind of links
roads
into
were muddy
Egypt.
and
It's
shit.
so crap. Decent
was
buildings
the
were for nice people.
libraries?
They weren't for scabbies like
I
us.
think
Yeah,
it
but
was
they
the
said
You
it-
can
Greek.
walk on the
Yeah,
shit
but they said it
roads.
took 2 years to do.
I think it was Alexander the Great's
Yeah.
libraries,
They were really important buildings. They were set.
which
They
had
were
so
designed
much of our
Wow,
origins
they were-
recorded,
They weren't
Yeah.
just normal houses. We all
and
lived
that
like
was set.
scabs.
That was set on fire.
They'd like huts.
To remove it,
Well, they were
So-
quite-
to remove it, same as Building 7 to remove $23 trillion worth of debt.
Yeah,
Same thing. It was removed for a reason,
yeah.
so people wouldn't know.
They had so much information recorded in there,
I mean,
and that was burnt down.
let them eat cake.
Yeah, let them eat
Let them
cake.
eat ghetto cake.
Get okay.
Alexandrian Library, yes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I was right. So yeah, that had so much information recorded about how we can the knowing and the doing of things. It almost sounds like Mad Max.
What
It does, but then
Sorry,
again-
I was having a
then
little mini
again-
conversation with Rudy.
It's something about how
That's fine, I enjoyed
how
it.
every so often we have massive fires.
Massive fire, well, like bushfires and things.
Well, the Great Fire of London. And
Oh.
Yeah,
whatever else.
America had their fires. didn't
Yeah.
they? The big fire.
Well,
bushfires.
They say that was in a
New
baker's shop.
Zealand.
They say that an oven was smouldering in a baker's shop in
Yeah.
Pudding Mill
Yeah.
Lane or Pudding Lane to actually cause the Great Fire of London. I don't think so.
Even
Well,
Siberia.
everything was wooden in London at the time, so it's quite likely that once one goes
Yeah, but it
up
would have been soaked in
and
creosote
Yeah.
or some sort of preservative because it wouldn't have just been sitting there rotting.
The what was alluding to was the Alexander the Great's libraries, which had basically all the information about how we got here and
Yeah, but that's in the Vatican, wasn't it?
That's all in the
no,
that's in the
what's
lower
left
floors
of
of
it?
the Vatican. You're not allowed access to that.
what's left of what was held in Alexander the Great's library is in the Vatican.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
before the fire, that had recorded information of everything.
Yeah.
You know, from the stars and
It's like the Akashic records, isn't it? Almost.
yeah,
You know.
it was just so much information recorded there, and that got set alight.
I was just saying, like, with the Egyptians, right? Maybe the Egyptians were sent. This is just an ideology. It's just an idea. I'm not saying it's true. I've got no proof of it. It's just
No.
going through stories in my head, and I think that we got too powerful. Our technology was so supreme and so advanced that we were overturning certain factions which are trying to control us: Anunnaki, Reptilian, Draconian, etc., etc. So obviously, after the Great Battle 6,000-7,000 years ago, they wanted to punish us. So the Egyptians were sent in, basically taught us to
As
be,
our overseers,
to
yeah.
be witchcraft and read and write, which basically stopped our telekinesis, telepathic,
Blocked our abilities.
blocked
yes,
our
yes,
abilities,
yes, I
right?
agree with
So
that.
we started from scratch. We were basically kids in kindergarten, and we
Yeah.
still are,
Yeah.
because all we do is fight over who's got what, who ain't got what, right?
Kids in the Garden of Eden.
Exactly.
And they put these things in place so we couldn't rebel anymore, you know. Like,
That's my theory.
Against each other.
And the
that.
technology's coming thick and fast. We all know that every 2,000 years there's something big that happens. If you go by their book, something biblical happens. What if there's supposed to be 2,000 years of war and then 2,000 years of peace? What if it's coming up? Because I'm not being funny. I don't care what anyone says. No one knows what happened 2,000 years ago. I don't care what a book says.
Phillips.
Because no one can actually tell exactly.
There's no proof of that at all.
20 years ago, it's all in our mind because we were there, we lived it. So we knew what was happening in the world 20 years ago.
Look,
And you believe the Bible. And
I don't believe the Bible.
About the reset, but you weren't there.
No, exactly. But I'm just looking at the way that control is. I mean, you look at the control they've got over us now.
Google compare.
You look at the control they've got over us now. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. Hang on a minute.
And yet we do.
Why do I need a passport to go to a different country? When it's all the same land. It's all the same. Like, I'm human, the same as them people. Right. This is my point. Why do I need to be controlled to be basically a money making
everything we do is controlled.
cash cow for them?
Everything we do is controlled. We pay taxes.
We're not supposed to.
We're not supposed to pay taxes.
Do you
To
think?
live on our own planet, we got to pay for it.
I'm sure going back to Egyptian times, and there was a good book I read many years ago about the economy of Egyptians, Egyptian people.
Yeah.
They had trades, so you'd trade your wares with your trade. So
Yeah, but that's fair
yeah, so
enough.
if you was a good
Talk
cook,
about that.
a good chef, you would sell your wares to get yourself
Yeah, if you was
luxuries
good
for
at
yourself.
something- if you was good at
No,
something,
no, that's socialism. You can't do that.
No, yeah, oh, come on. If you was a stonemason, which everyone back then was, because there was stone around and there was sand, and they can make everything they could using fire and furnaces. I mean, come on.
And
You would sell your wares to, or trade your wares, barter your wares to get bread, to get food, to get the luxuries you wanted.
The second hand.
Other second-hand shops are available.
No, but seriously, I mean, if you was good at something, like you said, he was a sculptor, or even like Jesus was, he was a carpenter, wasn't he?
Mm.
And you know,
He could have gone into show business with magic tricks he did.
well, yeah, maybe he did. I don't know.
Ta-da!
Hmm.
I got the two.
I'm going to make this £20 disappear.
But you can,
You can
Water.
do that just by buying the Mars bar now.
Water,
Yeah.
wine, water, wine, water. There you go.
oh yeah, oh.
Whoever wrote the Bible, do you think they ever thought that people actually believed it was real?
No.
I
Do you
don't
think
know.
they thought this
Well,
was going to be a
originally
bestseller?
The
Well-
original incarnation of it.
2,000
Yeah.
years it took people to realise that it's not real.
No,
No,
people
the
still
Bible-
think it's real.
The Bible's
They're
Bible's
like,
real.
The Sky Daddy
It's,
and the man of the
the
ground.
Bible's real. Is the religion that's made it.
So hang on, when you say the
fairy
Bible is
tales.
real, what do you literally mean?
It
Do you
describes-
mean it's written by lots of people and it's the word of God? Because that's what it's claiming to be.
Yeah, but that's religion saying it's the word of God.
No. Who says it's
So
the
when
word
it
of
says in
God?
the Bible that God impregnated Mary,
Mm.
you don't believe that.
I don't believe it. Yeah.
You do believe it.
Mm.
You believe that
Artificial
God.
insemination.
What on earth would God do that? He's God. You can just go. There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah, but you're speaking about God as one omnipotent being, which is what religion's telling you to believe.
Yeah.
That the Bible's saying. But if you take the religion out of it and read
But
the
you
book for
can't.
what
You
it is,
can't take the religion out of it if that's what the Bible is. The Bible is a religious document. Sorry, ridiculous
It's-
document. No,
it's-
religious
it's a-
document.
it's a book that
1956, Bible to repairing every single thing you could possibly think of, right?
What about brain
It's
cells?
just a guide. It's
Okay.
a guide to train you.
Yeah, but
to
that's
teach
about
you.
real things.
yeah, so it is.
How's that?
Um,
But what if it's a reference?
Do you
book?
know there is no
it's
record
religion that
of any census going on in Bethlehem in the year that Jesus was apparently born? No record of that at all.
Right.
there's-
Shepherds would not be in their fields in winter,
no, but again, that is
guarding
religion.
their sheep.
That is
It would be-
religion that's telling us that.
No, in the Bible it says they were
I know,
guarding
but-
their sheep.
Because what was it all the priests and the freaking bishops or whatever you
Yeah.
had their
Freaking
own
bishops.
freaking bishops
Free
had their
devil.
own input into what became the Bible, or was it with the canon or
So
whatever it was?
right, so actually, what you're reading and what you're seeing as
it's
a
not
guidebook which is not to do with God isn't actually the original Bible, is it? Because there's 37 books
Well,
in
no.
it apparently.
What if it?
How many
We've only
versions
got
are there
we've
of
only
this
got
thing?
bits of
Too
it.
many.
What if it was
It's
just?
been
A,
added.
what if it was a bedtime
Take
story
away.
for kids to grow up to know that there was more to life? What if it was created for that?
I mean,
What if it was written to control the masses?
Yeah, that is
It's a
yes.
crazy
Yeah, that's what
idea.
the old-
That's what
No.
we get taught the old. We were taught by the religious institutions that the Old Testament, you know, which is all fire and brimstone, and thou shalt go to hell for whatever the Ten
An eye for an eye,
Commandments.
have
Yeah,
blind.
the Ten Commandments and all that.
Oh,
was-
that's irony, isn't it? You should not kill. Oh,
Yeah.
look.
Oh, how many deaths?
Yeah,
How many deaths in
people got
Jerusalem?
killed.
You can't be having sex with your husband.
How many
neighbour's
deaths in
wife.
Jerusalem and Gaza
Thou
and all
shalt
that?
covet thy
And they're
neighbour's
religious
wife.
countries.
Oh, in Palestine, yeah.
Mm.
But
Funny, yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Love
I
thy
get,
neighbour.
that book has been changed. and what's it?
Has it? See, this is the thing. Where is the evidence that it's been changed? Where is the evidence to say actually they really did find the Dead Sea Scrolls? Where's the evidence to say they actually found this Bible? It
I'll tell
wasn't
you-
just created by someone and fobbed on the people. as
And
being something
I'll
special.
tell you something else. The Freemasons have got their own Bible, and it's nothing to do with.
It's called the Lightbringer. The light. It's actual to do with the Lightbringer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Which is
Lucifer.
who knows Lucifer.
But then again, I'm not
Maybe
being
Lucifer's
political.
not the bad guy.
That's what I said. What if Lucifer, as I said to Adam the other day, what if Lucifer come from the absolute, not from the lesser God Yahweh? Just say, for example,
Lucifer came from heaven.
right?
It's a fallen angel, apparently.
Apparently,
Yeah,
according
it
to
came down
according
in
to
watches.
According
Yeah,
to
but
the
that-
fictitious
according
Bible.
to the Bible, they're
Yeah,
saying
but
is
this
that,
is
well,
what
what
they
if
have
Lucifer
learned
was sent
so
from a
to
higher
believe,
source
isn't it?
to give people free will?
I don't know. I mean,
Just an idea.
being clairvoyant myself, I mean, I've seen the other side. You know, I've been to the Akashic Records. I've seen halls of learning. I've seen a lot of things, and I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, these places are.
None of that's mentioned in the Bible, is it?
No, none of that is mentioned.
Well, maybe
at all.
Afterlife
was-
they mentioned in the Bible.
maybe it was when they originally recorded everything. It was written down.
Yeah, but if
The
you,
Bible was written to stop us remembering who we really are
But
and what we really are and reuniting so that we have the power to be what we are capable
Yeah, but maybe because there was a lot more books in its original
Supposedly, we
incarnation.
don't know that, do we?
I know. We can only go on what snippets of information are
I
out
only
there.
go on my experience. I don't know if anyone else has had the same experience.
But
I hope not.
I mean,
hope
yeah.
not.
Here's a good example. We know about the book of was it the book of Ezekiel?
Ezekiel.
Was it the book of
The Book of
Ezekiel?
Revelations.
Was it the book of Enoch? I can't remember.
Enoch.
Book of Enoch.
Right, now we all know about the book of Enoch, and yet we all know it was taken out.
We don't know that.
it was.
Who said it was taken out?
It was taken out.
Yeah, but who said that?
Yeah, I think there was 3 books taken out. Heaven knows the names of them. I
Who
don't.
said, and why do we believe them?
Because I've got nothing else to believe, right?
No, yeah, that's what I mean. There is what are we meant to believe?
Because those books were describing stuff that whoever's in charge deemed to be irrelevant and that we shouldn't know about. Because the book of Enoch, I think, is the one that describes, going to heaven and coming back, or
Yes.
what have you.
Look, at the moment, we're filling in gaps, right?
Mm.
This is what we do.
But that's
I mean,
what we're trying to.
Well, Enoch
piece
was
together.
human, wasn't he? He was an
Yeah.
ascended human
Mm.
into an angel, so
And
apparently.
then we got the book. Then we got the one that deals with. Is it Mary Magdalene?
Yeah.
Which is Jesus' wife.
Yeah,
these things are taken out because they were deemed to be irrelevant to. I can't remember where it come from. I know Paul Wallace covers it quite, in good detail.
Wallace.
Yeah, Paul Wallace, Live Kind,
Oh, yeah.
I've got a question for you all.
and he does dive into it.
Oh my
Is it
God.
yours or is it from on
No,
here?
it's my question. Right. We all know the Bible doesn't agree with spirituality and ghosts and stuff like that. It
religious-
doesn't.
Yeah,
It
don't,
doesn't.
don't contact the dead. It says that
Yeah,
very
it
clearly.
doesn't.
Do not
Why
speak
do
to the
not
dead.
contact the dead? But we've all got gifts that actually associate with that. So
Or
No,
we're all
it's
batshit crazy.
how can we be batshit crazy? We all agree we can sense the same bloody thing in certain places.
Yep.
So can 4 people be completely bonkers in the head?
Well,
when
4
we-
people can be bonkers in the head, but not for that reason.
when we can all pick up the same thing?
Okay. So I think the Bible was written to stop us
From
Well,
expanding.
being what we are meant to. What
I totally
we are
agree with you on that.
truly
The
supposed to be.
Bible as we know it, as
It
we've
is-
got
it
now.
explicitly
I agree.
says-
Yeah.
do not consult spiritists, which
Ooh.
Which
means
goes back to what I
spiritists.
which goes back
Do
what-
not contact
yeah,
the dead.
which goes back to what I said a little while ago. You know, the religion as it
Religion is
was,
there to dumb down
just to stop
and
us being
control
able
and
to
conform,
access.
My own darling Google has actually answered me. She said, the way I see it, the Bible was a combination of scrolls combined, and at some point it was hijacked and taken over by a certain faction who inserted their narrative, changed names, and invented extra things.
Yeah. See, we sit here talking about the Bible, but what about the Quran? What about the Torah? What about the other religious
They're all
books that
exactly.
are out
They're
there?
all-
All the same thing.
They're not all exactly the same. Actually, if you look in the Quran, and I don't know enough about it to be able to make, you know, to be able to talk about
No,
it in depth. So if I offend anyone online, I apologise. But in the
Yeah.
Quran, it talks intricately about the workings of the anatomy of the human body. How would they know that when the Quran was written? So either when the Quran was written, there was knowledge that is beyond what we
Yeah.
know, unless
There-
we're
there
doctors,
is-
or the Quran's not real. And it's the same with the Bible.
Well,
It's
it-
either-
I'm not
Here's the one you were talking about,
strong enough.
The Bible
no,
describes
nor do I.
something.
This is the
I'm
one
only
you're talking
going on
about?
friends of mine.
Over the years, several books, documents have been removed by the Catholic Church. Book of Enoch, Book of Marconian.
Yeah.
Is that Marcion?
Who
Mark-
said this?
Not sure spelling, but
Catholic Church.
it's a great account of Jesus to be true without the miracles.
Where does it say that?
This is what Heather's found out in a what she does. She does a hell of a lot of research, and she states that
Heather's not our version of the Oracle. if you
Yes,
want
she is.
that.
Yeah, no, I know.
she's
she
the
does,
book,
but I'm
the
just-
Book of
I just-
Marconian, or wherever
I
it's
just wonder
pronounced.
where they get their information.
Yeah, I'll
from.
get that.
Because
No.
If
it
it's
goes
hidden in
on.
the Vatican, no one's going to give us that information.
No,
That's not going to be released.
No.
Not yet, anyway.
But that
So how
would
do
have
we
been
know?
We don't.
that's possibly not the sole source.
Sadly, we don't know.
I
We're
think
still in
the
dark.
point of most things
so how do you know?
that they try and get
How do you know it's false?
because here and here tells me what does the Bible achieve.
Hmm.
You look at people who are like Orthodox Christians or Orthodox Catholics or Orthodox Jews, whatever. They conform. They don't believe anything outside of what they're told to do and what the book tells them. And what do we have? We have something vaster, far greater than that, far more out there than they have. And that's not an insight, that's just an observation.
Totally
So
agree with
for
you.
me, the Bible is created to just dumb us down some more.
Totally.
Well,
And stop, and that's why
well,
Christians believe we
religion-
worship the
yeah.
devil.
But
They're
with-
devil
but
worshippers.
there's-
But it's
There's-
religion that's used that book to dumb us down.
Is it, or was it written for religion? Was it someone
No,
who
so-
wanted to dumb us down, who wrote the book for that reason?
So why have we got these gifts then that we use?
We don't. We are no different to
We-
any other
we
human
can-
being on the planet.
because
Everyone
it's-
has these
Because
gifts.
it's natural for us. to do
Yes, every
And
person is capable of this. It's just
Everybody's
That's quite
capable,
interesting,
but some
actually.
have got blocks. Blocks.
yeah.
The church voted to remove certain sections, the whole of the church voted to remove sections. They have tried over and over to remove the book of Revelations, but always lost the vote. It was never one whole book, just a collection of scriptures.
Yeah.
And you're right, it was put in,
It's
the
been
King
put
James
together.
Bible was put together
Yeah.
as a guide. I don't believe in the Bible as there. I believe it's reference
And why is there so many versions?
for spiritual uplifting. That's what I think. You go there and oh, God said this, Yahweh said.
Paul, why is there so many versions? Just to suit the message, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Just to-
Yeah,
to
because
suit
they've all
the
translated.
trend.
They've all translated the scripts differently.
in their own way.
One thing's true in every single Bible. It says, "I am a very jealous God." And-
Yes.
and also-
an angry God.
And an angry God, and he will punish and smite. In the other versions, it says,
He's a loving God.
no, there's I think it mentions 370 odd times or 420 times, it says, do not be scared.
Yeah.
It says that in the whole of the Bible. The most common used phrase is, do not be scared. That's what it uses in the Bible. So why would a Bible that says, I'm going to smite you unless, if you shag your neighbour next door, I'm going to smite you because you've broken one of the 10 commandments, but it says, don't be scared.
I mean, that is the Old
But
Testament.
that's contradiction.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're saying
There we
there are
go.
lots of books in the Bible, and I'm looking this up, and there's a lot of places, Wikipedia, Quora, loads of them say there's lots of books in the Bible. And
But
now
no
there's
one will really
a
know.
website called Christianity.com. It says there are no lost books from the Bible.
Well, the Christianity would say that because
Yeah,
it's
but
a
why?
religion.
Why are we not believing Christianity, and why are we believing someone on? I'm not saying I don't. I'm playing devil's advocate. Why are we not listening to Christianity? Why are we listening to some random person online? I don't mean Heather by that. I mean wherever Heather
no.
got her information from.
Yeah.
Why do we believe these random people that pop up on YouTube and go, we know this? They don't have access to the Vatican. The Vatican will not release this information if they're hiding something from us.
Did you know this? That Yahweh means in
Gods.
ancient
It
Arabic,
comes from,
it means my name is jealous.
Oh really?
Yeah, and God, because of that, God is not the true God. It's the hijack part. Anyway, I'm going to shut up about the Bible now.
I think you're right. I don't know. I think
What if? Let's just say, right. Let's look at the Vatican and Vatican City, right? They've got a chamber in there which is a snake's head, and it's where they all go and worship.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Right.
right. Can you go in and see that though, or is that?
No, but that's on the Vatican website. You can.
Oh,
just,
okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
see
That's
the actual
official
webs-
guides. But it's a snake head. It looks like a snake head.
Yeah,
It's
even
horrible.
inside.
Oh,
Even
isn't
inside.
there a photo of some massive
That's their chamber.
like
that
room
they,
screen? Looks like
yeah.
a room screen for a church, but some weird carvings on it.
yeah.
And have you,
Like really creepy stuff.
and have
Yeah.
you seen that figure at the back?
And he's really tiny, the Pope, because he's so vast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've seen that figure at the back. It looks like a man, but it's got a
No, I
strange
haven't.
head.
My daughter's been to the Vatican.
It's got a
She's-
really
it's-
weird
it's
head,
a
isn't
Very,
weird
very,
place.
very controversial subject at the moment. You've seen the picture of the Prince Charles, isn't he? Picture, haven't you? You flip one around the other side, and you've got a bow doing that.
But you
Baphomet.
could do that with a lot of
course you can.
that guy's pictures. And
But it
we
seems
are-
funny how the people just got
and
that
again,
picture,
I'm
and the
playing
next
devil's
day they're like,
advocate.
"Oh, hang on a minute, you seen
We-
this?"
Our brains
Paranoia.
look for faces. and
Paranoia.
things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that definitely looks like Baphomet to me.
The way I look at it, right, and Stephen Fry came up with a good point. Is the Catholic Church good for humanity? Is it a power for good? And he said no. And I have to admit, I don't like Stephen Fry, but I liked his theory and his reference he used, especially about the rape and pillaging of children and women over the centuries.
Absolutely.
And most
Totally.
of these pedos, guess what? Are
Religious,
religious priests.
right? But it says in
They
the
have the
Bible,
means.
it says in the Bible that children are protected. So why are priests doing what they're doing to children then?
Because they've got access to it.
Of course they do.
And
I don't believe for 1 second that Christianity and Catholicism or any religion condones paedophilia. I believe that paedophiles will put themselves in situations where they have access to children.
Okay, well let's go back.
So they'll become teachers.
Let's go back to
become
the early
social
70s.
workers.
Right,
like
the New York,
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
the
they will
Washington
put
Post,
themselves
the
in
Washington
positions where
Post
they can
declared that
access
there was over
children.
76 paedophiles in that area. Right, when they found out and investigated it, they approached I think it was the Vatican or the Archdiocese, whatever it was. They approached him. They were moved, but told to take a vow of silence, not to talk to the police. Funny that, and that's proven.
Yeah. When I went to the Salvation Army, and I'm not going to mention where it was, I was about 14, 15, and we turned up. It's very hierarchical, the Salvation Army. It's run like the army, so you've got
Yeah, I know
a
Salvation Army. Yeah.
lieutenant and captains and majors. and,
it's militaristic,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Most-
yeah, it is.
Major
And my mum always said,
waste.
Mum always said, go to Sunday school because if it doesn't do you any good, it certainly won't do you any harm. Anyway, so I went through my childhood, and I turned up. My mum saw this article in the local newspaper one day, and I went to Sunday school a couple of days later on Sunday, obviously, and we were like, "Oh, where's Captain so and so?" And they were like, "Oh,
Mandarin, yeah.
he's had some
Spending time at him.
He's had he's had some time off because he's not feeling very well. He's had some family concerns. He's spending time with his children."
He's been under some
They
10-year-olds.
didn't know that my mum had seen in the newspaper that he'd been found in the toilet with a small boy doing
As I said, he's been under 10-year-olds.
But I don't know what happened to him. All I know is he did not go to prison.
He moved off. They were
Exactly
silent.
that.
They were
He was
silent.
sent to another court where we could do the
Start
same
again.
thing again. And it was after that I just thought, why am I coming to this church?
There's a brilliant
How
film.
can they condone this?
There's a-
Even if they condone it in that way, it's still condoning.
There's a brilliant film with Mark Ruffalo, and it's called Spotlight. Watch it because it was based on fact.
Okay.
I like Mark Ruffalo.
He's a bloody good film. And
Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, Mark
I
Ruffalo.
thought you said Ruffalo.
And Mark Ruffalo done it. He worked for the New York, what was it, Washington Post.
Oh, is that the one where he
He exposed the paedophiles in the church, in the Catholic Church and across America. Well, across Washington.
Yeah, I think I saw
So it's
it.
based on a true story, yeah?
It was based on a true story, totally.
Yeah.
So anyway, flipping back.
And you can
Sorry.
go back and check it.
Flipping back.
Back
Let's
to Egypt.
Tangent again.
sticking with the Bible, right?
But I don't believe
And now
him.
this links into Egypt.
Yeah.
Obviously, they
yeah.
talk about the Nephilim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giants.
Yeah, the giants.
Fallen angels, yeah.
Now, when you
So
look
written after Egypt then.
yeah,
Yeah.
but they describe giants. when you look at some of the paintings, the hieroglyphs, whatever you want to call them, in the Egyptian,
They're bigger, aren't they?
yeah, you've got some of these. They depict some of these beings as being 2 or 3 times the height of all the rest of them.
But it's not just in Egypt. There's a lot of places around the globe,
Ireland,
that
England,
that mention giants, and there's a big movement of people who look at those volcanic. I don't know what they're called. What are they called? Like Devil's Rock that was in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That's a tree. It's got to be a tree, but it's made of igneous rock. So it's not a fossil.
But it looks like
and a fossil would take millions of years. And you believe the Earth's only been in 6,000, so we could discount that. But I'm not saying I don't believe in giants. What I believe, because some of those hills and mountain ranges look like people sleeping.
Yeah, like that.
But if they were fossils, they'd have no skin. They would be skeletons. So they wouldn't look like perfect women with hips and breasts. They wouldn't look like that.
Here's one thing for you.
But I'm not saying I don't believe in giants. I believe they were visitors and they were very knowledgeable and they came to maybe in some way rescue humanity or offer support and advice. I don't discount them. I just don't believe they're lying dead and fossilised.
The theory of the Bible states that fallen angels fell down, mated with human women to produce Nephilim. Right, that was the theory. Right, and then Nephilim then mated with human women. If they're like 15 foot tall and you've got a 5'2" woman, that's gonna fucking hurt.
That's
so
like
how can that physically go on? How can that physically go on?
The Bible's not.
Unless they get born in normal size and they just grow a lot quicker.
Maybe.
We don't know, but unless the Nephilim.
No, we're thinking more about the actual act of making the baby.
How can they produce more Nephilim when you've got a normal 5'2" woman and a 15-foot man? Sorry.
Adam!
I've not seen it. I'm just going on what
I've
been told.
I've only heard about it from you, so I'm all right.
Adam does Amityville or something like that. He does Dallas.
Unless the watchers have.
Adam does Ashington.
Unless.
Rudy does Raynham.
Don't discount that.
Glory does Grace.
No, I do not. Somewhere else, Gravesend.
Paul does Pitsy. Perfectly.
God, that's standards, please.
Like Pitsy.
Lowering the tone now.
Come on, guys. I was about to say, and then we'll move back on the thing, unless the watchers had spectacularly small penises.
Maybe they did.
We don't know.
The watchers.
But then again, if you go back,
if
you go back to the Mary Magdalene story, right? God didn't penetrate her. He just blessed her with a child.
Yeah.
Right. So how does that physically happen? How does that physically happen when it needs a male sperm to fertilise a female egg?
Immaculate conception.
What was that? Was a bolt of lightning straight while she was laying there like that? I don't know. I'm just saying.
But he made her
What, a turkey baster?
14 or 15.
That's a fucking big turkey baster.
And he made her pregnant at a time when an unmarried pregnant woman would be stoned to death. How inconsiderate.
I remember, right, going back, and I've told you this before, you've heard me say this before, but I used to have a reverend vicar called Michael Land, lovely bloke. He was always honest and always open. And I remember being about 10 years old going to Sunday school. And I sat there and I walked out of a reading and I'm sitting outside and just puzzling. I was like 10 years old. And he came out and said, Paul, what's the matter? I said, you really expect me to believe this? He went, what? He went, God put his only son on a cross, barbarically nailed him with a head of thorns on his head, bleeding his head, had nails for his cross, for my sins. I said, what the hell have I done? I'm 10 years old. Why am I being punished and being told a barbaric story about that? And he said, it's the way that you perceive it. He said, you believe what you need to believe, but that's the story that we promote to you. And I went, and I always remember the words, the story he promotes to us.
So it's like a salesman.
So why would I need to believe that someone would send their... I want to give my son and stick him on a cross and nail him up to a fucking...
That's what I mean. It's like a salesman. It's like a BBC News channel, isn't it? Saying, this is how it is, and hang on a minute, it's not.
And I was 10 years old, so what sins have I done apart from licking a cookie out of the fucking cookie jar? What sins have I done at 10 years old?
Oh, that's bad.
You stole a cookie.
I stole many cookies out. Well, actually, shortcake biscuits.
You should be hung, mate.
So shortcake biscuits.
Drawn and quartered.
Mum used to say to me, I can have two in the afternoon. I did. I used to take three because my mum says have two, so I used to hide one underneath the other in my hand like that and walk out.
Yeah.
My mum knew, she just never said anything. But it was the point. What is that my sin? What, for nicking an extra biscuit?
Oh dear.
I believe babies are born without sin. I think we're just born neutral.
But you're taught.
But religion believes a newborn child is a sinner because it carries the sins of his fathers.
How does it? Because the only one that can carry the sins of the fathers.
To generational curses.
Could be
but I
DNA,
don't believe
couldn't
in
it?
them either.
It's a blank canvas, a baby. A baby is a blank canvas. It's up to the parents to teach it, and the environment
yeah,
it's
but your
in.
DNA isn't about your sins. Your DNA is about your other shit. Stuff. Your other stuff.
Ah, hello,
Small
Ghost
stuff.
Crew from Neil Hyde.
Hello.
I have a question left over from the last sitting.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
Go ahead, Neil.
I like the one left over.
Left over.
Yeah.
I'm actually trying to keep things a little on point of Egypt.
Don't
You're
Alright.
doing very well, Adam. We're just ignoring you.
I know.
So am I, because
Yes.
I keep mentioning Egypt back to it and referring it back. I'm trying to as well.
Don't tell me it's going to be about Rettendon.
Now, Egypt was closely linked to Rettendon because they had a workhouse lane as well. What they used to.
Yeah. Oh, sort of. I'll might mention that in a minute. But anyway, go on. If we've got a.
I'm waiting for his question to come through.
But I'm just going to quickly go back to about the Nephilim and the giants because there were
Come on,
giants
mate.
depicted
Hit it, mate.
within.
One way, did you see that video of that the Nephilim apparently, the giant in the diving bell that they tried to put in, and it looked so animatronic and fake, it was unreal. Now, two people have said there was 2 points of that. One said, what if it was real but they made it look animatronic? What if it was animatronic?
So where was this?
Apparently they loaded back in the 1930s. There was a 1940s. There was a massive, great big Nephilim, and they made a suit for him, a diving bell suit, to send him down to go and get a shipwreck.
I'm surprised. We still find giants now. Look what happened in Iraq.
But are they
Like-
Nephilim or just big guys?
No, we're talking proper giants, not just.
You're talking
It's
about
all
20,
agreements.
25
Yeah.
feet people.
Was it
What,
20,
alive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
was it 20 years ago
Right.
in the Iraq War? One of the redhead giants.
Yes.
They found.
Oh, the special forces
That's it.
found him in the caves in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And he killed one of the soldiers, and then the fire and shot him. And caught him
Well,
off.
because I've got a hairy chest and a hairy back, I think I'm a descendant from a Yeti. So I think a Yeti is actually a testosterone enforced or infused Nephilim.
So what does that make you?
A very hairy Nephilim.
Does that make you a petty?
A petty.
Yes. Paul.
A Paul Yeti.
Festival.
No, a petty. I sound like a bloody yogurt, petit pois.
Hey, that's what.
The Ouija board.
Yes.
A yes, no ball. Or
Yeah,
yes,
go on,
yes,
Neil.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
no.
What about the Ouija board? Fire away your question.
Oh, he was the guy who said,
Oh,
if you use a Ouija board,
can you get the devil?
can you call the devil in? Yeah.
Why would you want to?
Maybe.
All agreed, a bad idea. Agreed.
Brilliant.
No, I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's just another way. Personally, I think
It's-
it's another way of contacting spirit, but it's been misconstrued. It's got a bad reputation.
A bit like the
Your
Bible.
your intent is everything. So if you set
Yeah.
your intent with a pure heart and a pure mind, and you're able, and you know what you're doing, and I don't see any problem.
Well,
Yeah.
I ain't gonna.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't
personally.
even, I wouldn't even chance it. It's like having a loaded gun.
We've
mate.
got one at the church.
I mean,
it's just we don't use
It's,
it.
it's not like the devil doesn't exist, but well, as Gloria said, if you go in with that intent, then you're going to get something you perceive to be the devil.
Yeah, you
It
want
might not actually be the devil. It might, be a dark energy of something. But if that dark energy said, "Oh, that guy wants a devil," I'm going to appear as the devil. Then you've got what you want.
So
Just
Or
you,
your mind
to
might
go back to
create
what
it.
Adam was talking about, Steve Arnold said, what about the Book of Enoch, which is all about Nephilim?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
totally.
Yeah. And just saying about the soldiers that the special forces that took on that
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 giant
yeah.
guy.
and bones have been discovered.
Was
They're
there
in
any
museums.
evidence of it?
Yeah, they carted it away.
No, but we didn't see it. Was it filmed? Was it?
Yeah, there's pictures of it.
Mm.
Yeah,
It's the only evidence these days. I can't just
There
believe
is
history anymore.
there's pictures of it.
Yeah, now not of the Iraq one specifically, but there are, I think it's museums and stuff over in South America, which have got giant skulls,
Ah.
the elongated skulls, and all sorts of things like that.
Oh,
Nephilim, some were called the son of EA.
Yeah.
Brand et al. Argues that the Nephilim refer to elite or royal warriors from legendary antiquity,
Slaughter.
which do not necessarily have abnormal stature or divine parentage. Which is quite interesting, really.
And what is their origin?
They were the Nephilim in numbers of 13 to 14 as autocentonotious elite warriors who dwelt in pre-Israelite Canaan.
Canaan.
Canaan, that's it.
It's
That's
like you're talking about like what do you call it? What's it in Goliath, isn't it?
yeah, David and Goliath.
David and Goliath. That's a classic example there, isn't it?
Right, the Nephilim are considered one of the most powerful entities in the universe due to being able to become stronger than its angelic parent. The stronger the angel, the stronger the Nephilim, which is why it makes them extremely dangerous due to the power they possess.
So my question is, are they from the stars
Love it now.
or from another dimension? Or
Depends
realm?
what you believe
if
spiritually
you,
on
if
that.
you look now at people who are tall, like, I don't mean like 15, 25 feet, I mean what we would consider giants, like 8 foot. There's one
There was that bloke in the early 19th century,
and
the
his
tall
brother
bloke.
went, and his brother went off to war, and when he came back, he was dead.
Yeah.
You can't live like that. You can't live like that on this planet. I know you're not a fan of gravity, so I'm not going to say gravity, but the conditions on this planet are not conducive to being giants.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So if giants ever existed down here,
no, I agree with you.
they
there.
cannot be native
I agree
to
with that.
Earth. They must have come from somewhere else. And my guess is the reason there's not really much evidence, if they were real, and I do believe they existed, but I believe the reason there's no evidence of them, maybe in their entirety or whatever, is because they couldn't be here for any length of time, because the gravity, the pressure, whatever on this planet is not. It's just not conducive.
Here's something for you.
But then we're looking at human giants where their hearts have to work extra hard, so I don't know.
Nephilim was stated to have been quite destructive with their powers. As Castiel and Mirabel over 100 years ago stated that whenever Nephilim grow into their full power, entire worlds died, causing them to be forbidden by the oldest laws of heaven.
Yeah, but still don't believe in heaven either.
Yeah, but we're talking. Are you thinking about religious heaven or the heavens?
No, I'm thinking.
The heavens is sky. I don't
Yeah.
believe, well, I believe in sky, but I don't believe in God there.
I'm thinking
No.
more of like off planet, off
Yeah.
world. That's what I'm thinking of. But
I think of heaven as in space, not as in.
I
heaven
think
that
I'm
we
more
get told from
confused than when I came here today.
Here's something.
And I'm not sure if
Here's
it's
something
down
which
to
is
the
quite
JD
interesting.
or the conversation we had.
In the Scorpion and the Frog, while trying to find Jack, Sam, and Dean discovered that the Queen of Sheba was actually a Nephilim, and that King Solomon created a spell to track Nephilim, allowing him always to know where his lover was. That's a bit of a fable there,
Okay.
but
well.
Nephilim can live up to 500 years.
Yeah.
Consider how often they're hunted. They're hunted by humans more than any other being. Superhuman strength. Nephilim are much stronger than any other being, but they're more hunted by humans than anyone else.
Well, they clearly don't exist now, do they?
No.
Well, we'd see.
Well, not that we
Well,
know. I mean, you've
yeah.
got a lot of underground.
Well, there was that thing on
Who was that guy who?
the TikTok guy you're talking about, the one that in Canada, see the one walking along the mountains.
No, the guy who
Oh,
went on
yeah.
a little explore. He went round to some mountains somewhere, and I know I'm saying stuff that's like really vague because I can't remember where the mountains are. It was quite some time ago. He went into a mountain, he saw entire cities, came back out,
Yep.
got some money together, got a group of people together. They were spent set out the next day at 8 o'clock, and when they went round to get him, he was gone. And they assumed that he'd gone on his own. They went round, they couldn't find any access to this.
He was
mountain.
removed.
I cannot
He was
remember.
removed.
No, they reckon that he went and just lived there with these people. I can't remember for the life of me.
Oh, he was removed because he knew too much.
And sitting in the pub talking about it is probably the quickest way to get removed, isn't it?
Anyway, going back to the Book of Enoch.
Don't see people.
Right, the Book of Enoch's not real. It says so on the
Apart from this community, the Book of Enoch was excluded from both the formal canon of the Tanakh and the I can't pronounce that Septuagint, and therefore also the writings known today from the I hate these words The main reason for Jewish rejection is the book is inconsistent with the teaching of the Torah.
Of course it won't be.
The Torah,
The Jewish.
Because they don't want you believing that Nephilims exist. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
The Book of Enoch's about Nephilim, angels to humans.
Yeah, but I'm not sure you can just go for the angel to human. An angel is an ascended master. Angels are like way up there. What on earth do they come down?
Guess what's next?
I don't know.
Oh my god. Are you trying to make us back?
No, I'm just keeping you up. Oh, there we go.
I'm coming up. Oh.
Yeah, not to get pickled onion monster.
No, not to get
anyway,
bigger.
so-
Put it on the table, please.
I will pass this to my
Steve colleague.
associates.
Yeah.
You want to have a drink?
Yeah, the right honourable gentleman there.
You have to have honey. So one out of the.
Oh, honey's good. I love honey. It's my fave. The thing is, you start talking about one thing and it leads on to
We
other
always go
things.
off tangents. We
Yeah,
go
but
on
it's hard
tangents.
to just stick to
We're
one
like
thing.
Billy Connolly. We start on one conversation and go on 5 different bloody
Oh my
tangents.
god, that man is so talented. It's
I
such a
know,
shame he's
but then he always comes back to the original.
I
And
don't know
links it
how
all
he
together.
remembers to come back.
Yeah, but this is a round square table.
Yeah, he is around.
It's a round. It's a square table that
So we
identifies
can
as a
do
round
the
table.
Egyptian Bible,
Because it, I mean,
pink toothbrush discotheque thing.
yeah.
All
'Cause
linked.
it does. Because it all still does kind of link in. It's, you know, we've got.
The dots connect, don't they?
2 questions. One for you, Gloria. What about this? An old woman reading tea leaves. Is this myth or fact?
Okay, so we all have psychic ability. All of us. We all have intuition. We all have, like your gut feelings. What's our solar plexus is known as our second brain. And so we all have the answers. We're born with everything we need to navigate this life. And as I was saying earlier, currently the age, thank you very much, the age that we live in means that we're being dumbed down and all the things we're capable of knowing are being destroyed in us. So, tarot, reading the tea leaves, reading the runes, reading anything like that is how we access our psychic ability. So, no, I don't believe it's fake. I do believe there are charlatans in everything, whether it's a medium or a psychic reader. There's definitely charlatans, but if your nan could read tea leaves and she read them accurately, then there's absolutely no reason to believe that she was faking it. No.
And the second question, well, it's more of a comment. What we talked about when I read out about the most hunted Nephilim were mostly hunted by humans.
Yeah.
That's the reason. No matter how powerful they were, there was always a way of us killing them. And Steve Arnold said that's why they died out. They were killed by humans.
Yeah. I mean, the story.
Like the dodo.
Yeah.
Yeah, the story of David and Goliath. Is
Yeah.
probably the most famous story. And Achilles as well.
Yeah.
Where we get the notion of Achilles heel.
Yeah.
If you're
Oh
gonna,
yes, in the heel.
because it's like, oh my God, how am I going to face a thing that's 4 times the size of me? You take the
By the
Achilles,
weak spot.
yeah, the Achilles tendon.
And old Billy Big Bollocks with his sling went out there. David went, oh,
You
yeah,
can't
whoa,
say
whoa,
the
whoa,
B
whoa.
word on
Sorry,
YouTube.
Billy Big Balls went, hey, dunk,
Yeah.
dunk. There you go, bye, see you later.
Hit him in the weak spot. And,
Smoke me a kipper, we home for breakfast.
Everyone has an Achilles heel.
Yeah, or there's Patrick.
What's that on Jason and the Argonauts?
So,
Jason
I
and the
don't,
Argonauts, that
Jason
film.
and the Argonauts. I remember Jamie and the Magic
Wasn't
Torch,
the
but I don't remember
Achilles
Jason and
heel
the
in
Argonauts.
Jason and the Argonauts?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, it was.
It was, wasn't it? I remember watching it at Christmas.
Talos.
Not this
Yeah,
Christmas.
The
the one
statue Talos.
I can't believe it.
The brass statue, what copper statue Talos that come to life. Because they tried to steal something because he was on top of that thing.
That's it.
And his Achilles heel was. They told him if he undone that they could kill it or destroy it before it killed them. Remember it well. It's one of my favourite films.
Isn't life just so full of mysteries, eh?
it's like we think we knew this world up until. I mean, as I said to you guys before, what sort of opened one eye up for me was reading Eric von Daniken, which is where some
Chariots of
Egyptians.
Gods?
Yeah. So, a book written in the 60s.
Well, I read, as I said, I read, what's his name?
Zachariah Sitchin?
No, what was it? The Black Alchemist.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's something I'd like to read.
I thought that was good.
Here's a good thing. I'm looking at conspiracy theories based in ancient Egypt on Wikipedia, right? And there's one here about the different meanings of the hieroglyph and what they mean.
Yeah.
Such in the transcript Oa,
They teach that in school, aren't they?
and which means scheming, plotting, and you've got villains, plotters, rebellion, rebel,
Yeah.
and all different types of way they put the hieroglyphics means different things, and they all stated around the end of every single area to be to kill, to murder, and it was always at the last sema they called it. It was always put at the last. Every single era in the hieroglyphics, every single part of a wall had an era, whether it was Iron Age, Stone Age.
Yeah,
Right, every single one ended in to kill, to murder. And it'll be the ending that the higher would be murderers. That's a conspiracy, and that's what they state in the actual hieroglyphics.
okay.
Every end of every year, there's always someone that's blamed for mass genocide, basically. Funny that.
Yeah, and we're experiencing that.
So when are we due for our where's that?
2040.
I've been on gone by them.
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, it's supposed to
It's only,
be.
it's only 16 years away.
2025, isn't it?
Come on!
Better buy my boat now then.
Yeah.
I think you should buy your boat, right? Get 2x2 on it, you know, and go.
It's 41 foot long. What am I going to do? But
I didn't say what though.
no, they have to be very small animals.
2 cans of lager, 2 cans of coke.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 cans of coke, 2 lagers,
So,
two skull,
you can
2
imagine
meat.
God going, so Adam,
2 bags of
Tarot
crisps.
cards.
yeah, that'd be pathetic, wouldn't it? So,
Whiskers.
Adam, when I said put 2x2 on it, I didn't mean alcohol, we're thinking booze.
And Adam, I didn't mean a red 9.3 and a blue 9.5.
I bet, yeah, when I two of each.
I didn't mean a Triumph and
Yeah.
an Africa Twin.
Put your Triumph and your Honda back in the garage. No.
Oh.
It's an Africa Twin. It will survive the flood.
Yeah, it will. I'll make it.
But will
I'll
you be
make
able
it
to fit
survive.
2 of each animal in it?
Mm.
And get round the world before the flood starts?
Well, by the time that does, the only animals going to be left are cats, dogs, and budgies.
Cats won't be left, they don't like water.
The only thing that will be left.
Yeah,
will be
they'll find
birds.
somewhere to stay out.
Birdies. Birdies.
Birdies.
And how did Noah keep the penguins cold, the lizards hot,
Because it's
and
bullshit.
got
Sorry,
the lions
sorry.
eating
It's
the zebras?
it's a story.
Put them. He put the penguins in the fridge and didn't open their wrappers.
I don't know.
Nostradamus and Mother Shipton both predicted 2040.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff about Nostradamus.
It's
where
very
he's-
open to interpretation.
Yeah.
So Nostradamus spoke about
Didn't he used to
the
smoke?
rise of Hitler. But
Didn't he used to
apparently
smoke
it
weed?
wasn't. It was the rise of. It was the overflowing of the river Histler, and it was.
But Nostradamus, didn't he used to smoke weed or take a
I
bomb or
didn't
something?
know him.
Probably.
He used to smoke some sort of chemical
I
induced
don't
bomb.
know. All I know.
To help him see
All I know
prophecies.
he was an
Probably had
alchemist.
psychosis then.
Probably DMT.
He was an alchemist, and he cured the diseases with rose petals.
I wonder if he grew any, I wonder if he grew it for personal or just for.
Have you
Well,
seen the film?
So, and if anything
Yes.
else on the Egypt's
Really good
conspiracies?
soundtrack.
I mean, here's one that isn't a conspiracy. Well, technically it could be, because we get.
Are you sure?
Well, yeah. Didn't we also get taught in school that the Sphinx and the
Sphincter.
sphincter, yeah, the sphincter and the pyramids got built at the same time.
No, it didn't.
No,
Oh no, yeah, it did. Yeah, we did.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying, what we got
Hang on a
taught
minute.
at
but the
school.
Sphinx was built before the pyramids.
surely they would.
How could it be? We've only been
Yeah.
about 6,000 years.
No.
Well, I'm just going by. I'm just talking about written word.
Well, the Sphinx has got marks due to water erosion on it.
Yeah, because all the faces disfigured, isn't it? With gold.
Yeah.
But did you know
particularly at the bottom.
you can't go inside the chambers of the
Yeah.
Sphinx?
And
Yeah,
what's,
you're not allowed.
You're not allowed.
What is
Why?
What is beyond?
Is
Yeah.
there,
it?
is there a big
It's
fucking
over
power
the
grid
back.
in there like ye olde ancient Egypt technology that says
And
ye olde LEB?
Eon was here
could
first.
it not be the sand that erodes it?
Could it not be?
Sand that's
No,
eroded
this is
in the
all
wind.
water
There's
erosion.
water erosion on it.
What, down the bottom or? Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you look at pictures.
Because I
of
read
the
somewhere
Sphinx.
that it wasn't a sphinx originally, it was a lion.
I was told it was a dog. Well, I kind of read somewhere that it was a dog.
And you said the snout was long, which would make sense because greyhounds and salukis originate in Egypt.
Yes.
Yeah, and Roger's got an Egyptian dog, hasn't he?
Mm.
Who?
Chineco.
Was it?
Yeah.
Say again?
Chineco.
Bless you.
Chin in echo.
Chineko.
Like a mini pharaoh hand.
Yeah, yeah.
I saw a pharaoh hand the other day, they're beautiful.
But the Sphinx, let's have a look at the Sphinx.
Yeah, so when you get it close up to the
Yeah,
the
because
bottom of it,
apparently
it's
there's an entrance behind the ear, isn't there, or something?
Yes.
from the same?
There's an
No,
entrance at the
yeah.
back.
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought the pharaoh had a big
You've got an
head-
entrance at the
big
back of the
headdress.
Sphinx.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be one.
Sphinx.
There is a rear entrance to a
There's a rear
Sphinx,
entrance
to a
and there's
Sphinx.
one behind the back.
The
No,
Sphinx-
that's not being joking. I'm being serious.
Stop
There's
it!
one between his legs,
You can,
between his paws like that. There's one that goes in the middle, and there's one at the back.
yeah, you can enter the Sphinx.
Because the reason
Stop
for
it!
right, I'm going to be serious. I'm not going to make any jokes. The reason why they had the two hands like that with the channel going through to come out the back,
You're supposed to enter the Sphinx. So you
because
wouldn't go
I kind of think that the Sphinx was some sort of transference device.
It's a Sphinx.
The Sphinx. Between the Sphinx, at the rear end of the Sphinx, there was a channel, and I think water passed through it. I think it was some sort of maybe a filter to clean water. I don't know. But I just think the
I
way
think,
that
seriously, there is water underneath the Sphinx.
yeah. But there's a channel that goes between its legs and comes out its
I
backside.
think
Maybe it's an enema.
there's something underneath that.
Yeah, it's an enema.
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's documents or something underneath it.
Caffeine enema.
Okay, yeah.
No, seriously, I really
Aren't
don't.
the documents in that room behind the Sphinx?
Yeah, the ear.
The ear of the Sphinx.
But I remember they put a robot in there, didn't they? And they couldn't photograph. They
You
had
can
an
go
X-ray
into the
thing.
Sphinx.
Okay.
No one's. No.
You book a tour of
They
Giza
must let you in
pyramids
there.
and the Sphinx, and you can go inside.
No, I mean underneath it. Actually underneath
Yeah,
it.
Now you're changing the goalposts.
No, I've heard there's stuff underneath
Right, I'm
it.
gonna have a look.
Maybe that's where the pharaohs kept their stash.
Who knows?
Because they did used to smoke a hell of a lot of Hershey. Mm. They were very, very powerful with it. They used to love that sort of stuff.
You get the opportunity to tour Egypt's Sphinx inside and touch the Great Sphinx of Giza.
You touch the Great
by
Sphinx,
entering
touch the Great Sphinx.
You touch the Great Sphinx, did you? Does it pucker up when you touch it?
Do you go in thumb first?
I
I'm
don't
really
know.
sorry, everyone, about these strange.
Does it pucker up
By
when you touch it?
entering the
Entering the
enclosure-
sphincter. Yes.
By entering
No,
the
chocolate
enclosure,
starfish
which is
for
normally
me.
closed to the public.
Balloon knot.
For almost an hour, our clients can walk around the Great
That's what I was trying to get at, Steve.
Sphinx
A
in
giant
Giza,
battery.
standing between his
A
big
giant
paws, see the
battery.
famous stone.
Back that battery.
Steel, close up, close.
What, like the pyramids?
Because as I said, I think the pyramids are a power generator. That's either a water heater or some sort of electrical infusion device. And there's going to be something to store it like a capacitor. And I think the Sphinx was one big capacitor, like a battery.
A star generator, what I call the star generator.
Yeah.
Because they're aligned with the stars.
That's
Yeah.
a very creepy looking creature, isn't it?
Particularly if you're going for the
It
rear.
looks like sloth legs.
Especially if you're sticking your head up its sphincter, yeah.
No, but
Yeah, I know
that
what you mean.
snake's like a sloth.
I know,
That's
I
not anything.
But that head is the wrong proportion
Yeah,
to the
but
rest of it.
what is the who's
That's a bit
face is
freaky,
printed on
actually.
that? I wonder whose face was printed on that Sphinx at the time. You know.
But you look at the paws. The paws are like cat, lion like, or dog like.
Yeah,
Um,
that's horrible. That's actually a bit weird.
It is. But I mean, there must have been photos way back before it eroded.
No,
You know, the
none.
face was eroded.
Only artist impressions. There's none.
No actual photos before.
well, that was one of the first things that changed the narrative for me, was reading about, you know, the pyramids back in the 90s, you know, and all that time.
That's probably the best picture I've ever seen.
What was
I can't
that?
see it.
Some bloke kissing the Sphinx. See it?
Yep.
Oh
Not the Sphinx.
Yeah, not Sphinx.
But yeah, that was one of the first things that sort of changed my perception. Was, you know, you always assumed what you got told at school about
yeah.
the pyramids and
Certain
this.
things.
Yeah, that was accepted knowledge. And then I was reading, you know, Alan Alford and Eric and
Eric von Däniken.
yeah. And
Why is there only one?
Eh?
Why is
What?
there only one?
What one Sphinx?
Sphinx. Well, it's quite unusual, isn't it?
Only one. And then, I can see that before you said about the door in the side here. I've
Yes.
seen it. Yeah.
Have you seen the door
Yeah,
inside
see it
here?
in the side here.
Yeah.
I couldn't see that.
But once
Um,
seen, you can't unsee it.
No.
There you go. Sorry.
Oh.
See? Right there.
Yeah, I can't
See?
looking at it now.
Yeah.
I can't say I told you so.
Rare footage inside the Sphinx temple.
There you go.
Hopefully it's not all brown. He's been douched.
Not the Sphinx stuff.
They're not going to tell you that though.
Hopefully he's douched before then.
That's as I was trying to say. That
Oh, pictures
that was-
inside. Sorry, go on.
You're not sorry.
the pyramids were tombs. And when
They're far too technology advanced for teams.
when you started going into it, it sounded like a giant furnace. And when you look in the, you know, where the sarcophagus is, that makes sense. I mean, look at the material it's made out of. That material will be used to withstand heat. Why would you use that as a tomb?
What was it
No,
made
you
out of then?
There's only 3 chambers. There's only 3 chambers
King's
connected
chamber,
by
Queen's
diagonal
Yeah.
tunnels, which you could hardly just about fit a human down. So why would there was no stairs? They had to make the stairs inside it to do it.
Booby trapped, didn't they?
Would they, or do you reckon they were chambers to let in steam and pressure and air and
Yeah,
water?
the chambers were something completely different, weren't they? So,
Heather said the head isn't in proportion because it's carved out of the neck of the original Anubis statue.
Yeah, that makes
Anubis,
sense.
that's it.
It's a strange creature, isn't it?
Did she say Anubis?
Anubis, yeah,
Yeah.
Anubis.
It's a sphinx, isn't it?
I also understand that the Towers of Babel story was a cover-up for reasons the Great Pyramid was created. It's a power source of some kind, which I've always said. I've always said the pyramid are some sort of power source
yeah.
because
I bet
they're in the hottest part of the world, facing the sun constantly, where the sun is most it's round in Egypt. Spends more time in that part of the world than it does anywhere else. It's on the equator. So the sun's going to be there, energising them constantly. So I do reckon it was an early form of either a power station or water
Yeah.
heater.
I'll bet you if you had an EMF meter, that'd be off the scale.
Of course it would.
If you're going back to the Sphinx is a cat. It doesn't look anything like a cat.
It's a dog,
Cat is best. The black cat
The
is
Sphinx
best.
is a cat.
allegedly. But why do you think the
Sphinx
nose?
is a naked
Well,
cat.
toes.
With
Why
no,
do you think the nose has
No,
come
no,
off?
I mean, a Sphinx is a breed of cat
Yeah.
that has no hair.
Hairless.
And that doesn't look anything like it.
No, that looks like more like a lion or a dog.
But a lion is a cat, isn't it?
Here's something for you, right?
Big cat. Yeah.
Go on.
Didn't we have an Africa, Egypt during the Second World War? There was a lot of warfare, dog fighting and fighting, and right. So why wasn't none of the actual
I don't know.
damage by bombs where
Maybe-
London took a basic
There was
pasting?
nothing to
Well,
bomb.
maybe there's nothing worth bombing.
No, it wasn't
Why
a
have
big
we
bomb.
got these?
Strategic bombing wouldn't. Well, they wouldn't go to the pyramids.
The same. Why wasn't there no damage to anything over?
There's
Why have we
nothing
got-
there worth bombing.
Why have we got these needles like the Cleopatra needle from Egypt?
What you mean the phallus?
They gave it to us for nothing.
Very simple.
The phallic symbol, yeah. We got one down on the side.
Blimey, if someone's penis
It's
looked
a
like
phallus
that, I'd be
symbol.
very worried.
They're all phallus symbols. They're all erect penises. Whether you look at them or not, they're erect
That is
penises.
not a penis. I'm a bit worried about your.
Right, on the South Bank, embankment, right,
I've been there.
there's one there that sticks up like a penis out of the
Have you
water.
got-
No, it looks like a needle out of water.
No,
No,
it's
no.
phallic
It
symbol.
doesn't look. It does not look like a penis.
It's a phallic symbol.
What is
Gloria.
it? We've
It's a
never
phallic
been-
symbol.
Okay, Cleopatra needle
Gloria. It's a
is
phallic
square
symbol.
for a start.
It's a phallic symbol, Gloria.
Anubis is a dog, by the way.
Don't say Anubis. I said Sphinx. Not
No, we're
Anubis.
talking about Anubis is a dog.
Yeah, but the Sphinx.
And they're not allowed to
It's
fly
a-
up.
I thought it was a jackal. Jackal.
Come
on,
it's
yeah.
a
It's
jackal.
cat.
Yeah.
They're quite cute. Look. Sorry, I digress.
So you don't agree with you don't think that every single phallus symbol, every needle and monument, the Tower Monument,
So
Nelson's
that's
column.
the phallic symbol as well, then, because that
So-
is.
So you don't agree
tubular
with
and large.
you
You've got one
know
in
the
the
statue of what do you call it in
You've got one in the
where is it?
You've got one
From
in Rome.
Washington
You've got one in
DC.
London.
You got that big symbol there.
Oh
of,
yeah, you got the Washington.
The capital.
They're all
building.
shaped, they're all penis erect shaped to the sky.
You got the Washington Monument.
They are.
That's not penis.
It doesn't have to be with a helmet on it and 2 balls. It's phallus. It's a phallus. It's a erect item. Points to the heavens.
What is wrong with men? Not everything is about your most treasured body part.
No, it's not treasure body button. It's in fact it's,
So
a,
we
it's a
can-
symbolism.
I'll throw
It's a
away.
symbolism
I was
of
gonna
man.
Tell you what it is, right?
So every tower block is a phallic symbol because it's the same shape as the Cleopatra.
No, it's not shaped like a Cleopatra
If
needle, is
you
it?
look at Canary Wharf, it's just like
The
Cleopatra
shard
with
is.
a little,
The fucking
not
shard is.
shard, the Canary Wharf. The shard's nothing like Cleopatra. It's a weird shape like that.
It's an erect symbol of. It's a phallus. It's a phallus symbol.
Oh my god.
And a lot of satanic worshipping in this world, whatever you want to call it, has to promote male dominance. Because it's all about male dominance.
That
On
Fred said, I thought the Washington Monument was a tribute to Bill Clinton.
well, probably yeah, but it ain't got Monica Lewinsky's dress on it, is it? All symbols
I
are
can't
fallacy.
buy into that. Sorry, it doesn't look anything
I
like
never
it.
really thought of it like
They
that,
don't have to
be
look at.
honest.
That is a phallic symbol.
What is
It doesn't have to look like a
What is it?
penis.
What's a
What
rabbit?
the idea is, the symbolism with it.
Yeah.
The symbolism with it.
It's called
It's
phallic
male dominance.
architecture.
It's male dominance. Look at us. Look how perfect we are.
Phallic symbol. Not
Phallic
image.
symbols can come in. I mean, you've got Nelson's column,
Yeah.
right? You've got what do they call it? Monument. You've got Cleopatra's Needle on the south bank, on the north bank, whatever one way you look at it. You've got everywhere. There's one down at Chalkwell as well. They're everywhere. They're
Where's
phallus
that?
symbols. It's symbolism for a phallus.
Oh, it looks more like that. Then.
Nelson's
You know what?
collar, really?
Yeah. What goes up and down Nelson's column? Winnie Mandela.
Yeah. Really?
It's just a
Just
towel.
knew that was coming. That one.
It's
That's
just a
that's
towel.
an old
Honestly,
one.
you know, if men want to put their penises out there in public, they can just build concrete.
You've been a bit naive there, Gloria, because
No, I'm
it's a
not.
satanic ritual. It's all about humiliation of womanhood, right? Because God, the godness is womanhood. They're the ones who produce life, not men, right? It's that thing.
We can't produce life on our own. Well, we
No,
can, we can take
but
it
you're the
from
ones
our
that
own,
harbour.
you're
You are the mother of that child. You produce that child. It's all about men being better than women. It's gone back for centuries, and men are always male dominant, and you know, oh, we're the best. Women's. I mean, you look at certain religions. They put women in the kitchen and leave them in there.
Gloria, it's a symbol of power because
It's a phallus. It's a symbol of power. That's what it
because
says.
London is a symbol of power in England. The capital is a symbol of power in the United States, and in Rome it will be
No, I didn't think about that. Yeah, because you've got the Washington Monument.
Well, there's two of them,
exactly.
isn't there?
What's the one at the Vatican?
That is the you know what it is. The Vatican is the symbol.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about a phallic
of
symbol.
Italy.
Egypt had its own phallic symbols as well.
Okay.
They had their own.
I mean, we're talking about like what we call the modern
Oh,
world.
sorry.
Yeah.
Rome is the power. The Vatican is the power of Rome.
Yeah. Is there
It doesn't belong
is
to
there an obelisk in the
Yes,
Vatican?
yes, there is.
Okay, so
I'll find it one sec.
we've got the Washington Monument. We've got whatever.
You've got the one in London, in the city. You've
Yeah.
got the one in Washington or capital. wherever it
Cleopatra's
is.
needle is a symbol of women's power because she had a vast army.
And you got it in.
I bet she
Sorry
did.
guys,
Rome.
you're not having it as your penis.
I don't want it as me penis.
Not you. You've been very quiet about this. But these pair have enjoyed having Cleopatra's needle as their phallic.
No, it's a phallic symbol. And
Cleopatra
it was basically
was
an
one of the most
obelisk.
prominent queens in antiquity, known for her
Funny
intelligence,
this.
powerful army, and notorious affairs.
Did you see the one in
With political
Rome?
leaders.
I'm about to read something.
Yeah.
The Egyptians invented the obelisk
Right.
as a phallus symbol of power and fertility.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Okay.
And it's called Cleopatra's needle because
But as I
she
said,
was
it's a
powerful.
phallus symbol. Yes, it is.
But it represents her. It represents her power because she had such a huge army.
Made by man.
And she was so powerful.
Made by man. Do you think she had women loads of children out? No,
Well,
men made it.
And why did they make it? Because she asked her to make it.
Gloria, why,
She asked them to make it, so they were
Gloria.
under her power, not the other way
my
around.
question is, why is it in the three centres of power then?
Yeah, that's what I
Because
was
she
getting
was a
to.
powerful woman.
That's what I was
It's
getting
nothing
to.
to
It
do
was a
with the
gift.
woman.
Same as
It's
church
the
spires.
seat of power.
Yeah, but it was a gift to London from
Church
wherever she had
spires.
it made.
Church spires are actually a representation of a phallic symbol for satanic worship.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, so
And that's what
All
it is.
spires
Spires are
are
tall because
all
when they
t-
build churches and cathedrals, the whole point behind it is to get as close to heaven as they can. That's what they're built
It's
for.
phallus.
It's actually the opposite
That's
way round.
why they're tall.
It's actually the opposite
Oh,
way
what was
round.
that?
According to someone on YouTube.
Oh,
No,
Right.
according to my instincts.
What I was going to try and add.
Okay, you could be on YouTube.
But your instincts could be wrong, Gloria, so can mine.
Yeah, yeah.
What I was going to
It's on the summit.
what I was going to try and add was the Cleopatra's Needle. Is
No,
that
what-
the only obelisk in London?
No, there's two of Cleopatra's needles.
Okay.
Both represent Cleopatra's power
It's to
and
do
her
with
vast
the-
army and
No,
intelligence
I know
and
that.
the affairs.
But there is another
Yeah.
Seat of power, isn't it?
It's all about to take you away from the,
There
spirit,
might
from the
be
heavens.
obelisk.
It's all about to take you away from
Point,
the...
I don't know.
the point I was alluding to, what I just said with Rudy.
No, there is
There's,
one
there's a
in the Vatican,
obelisk
isn't
in the
Yes,
Vatican.
there
There's an obelisk at Washington.
Oi, help yourself over there!
there?
They're
I've got my
mine!
hands stuck.
They're
There's
mine!
obelisks all over.
Yeah.
Hands stuck.
Yeah, what I'm saying
Just
is
a few
that,
answer in there. Help yourself out there.
so therefore there will be an obelisk in London because Washington represents the military power in the world.
London is the
Vatican
monetary,
represents the
Financial.
financial.
hang on, no, I was getting to that. Yeah, the Vatican represents the religious power of the world, and London represents the financial.
But that can hold every single deed you ever signed for any loan agreement or anything. Any financial agreement that you've ever had, even your birth certificate, is held at the Vatican.
Do you know? Do you know how much your
You
birth
never will.
certificates are worth?
The obelisk represents loads of stuff. So
Absolutely billions.
scholars believe an obelisk represents eternity and immortality, and their long tapering form function to connect the heavens and the earth. Egyptians believed that the monument commemorated the dead, represent their kings and
But you're reading off
gods.
Google. You're reading off Google, aren't you?
No, I'm reading from
Wikipedia.
But if you're reading off the
Central
internet,
Park, New York City. Omeka Wellesley Education, First Life of the Obelisks in Egypt. This one is LinkedIn. A powerful symbol of faith that reminds us of the importance of honouring the dead.
but that's the
This is
that's the
where-
narrative of it.
Wikipedia says it symbolised the sun god Ra.
But that's the mainstream.
And St Peter's Basilica said it's the obelisk. For pagans, the obelisk was a solar symbol that represented a vital flow between heaven and earth, a way of communicating to the divine, which makes sense to me. And then it says, is an obelisk a Masonic symbol?
Yes.
And apparently, some have suggested that blah 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 in St Peter's Square carries Masonic symbolism. Arthur Goldwag, author of Cults, Conspiracies and Secret Societies, said there is no truth to anything.
Okay.
But he's written a book about.
So I'm supposed to believe because you're reading it off of Google.
Yeah, but I'm supposed to read because you're reading it.
No,
off
because
the
I'm
internet as well.
I'm going through what my instincts was. Right, I was
But our
told
instincts aren't always correct because we're being dumbed down by everyone.
exactly. So that's the narrative. What they're trying to tell you what they're good for.
But that's a lot
But
of
they are a
narratives.
power symbol for a satanic cult or the satanism, what you want to call it, that is basically a main power of man to show how powerful man is.
Not
It's
just
not
the
anything
man,
for God.
anyone.
It's actually a bad thing for
Yeah, but
to
it
promote
doesn't.
men.
Right, okay. It's not about a phallus, and it's not about a man. It's about a person who is powerful. Whether that's a man or a woman, it represents power.
But it's
You're
still
mistaking
damn right fucking
power
wrong.
with your penis, and that's not the same.
But it's still damn right
not
wrong.
yours specifically.
No,
I
not
just
mine,
mean
because
generally.
mine ain't that powerful. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day,
Power to the
What do
penis.
you like?
at the end of the day, right,
Penis power.
the symbolism with it is to
Sponsored
show
by Viagra.
the symbolism is to show the power of the bad in man, because they're always promoting their masculinity through everything, and that's what it's been about. And the Satanism that's been going on in this realm for God knows how many years, always
How
been
long ago?
Baal, the Baphomet, had a penis and breasts, and done his famous fucking symbol with his goat head and all that with his horns. It was all about worshipping of him, and it always will be. That's what the Vatican's basically promoting. All the symbolism they use on their I can't say the word. Catholicism.
Catholicism.
That's the one. It's always been based on satanic rituals. The blood of Christ. You're sitting there. They baptise a baby in water and put his head. That's all symbolism for Satanism.
I know, but
The-
what I'm
put the
saying
cross
is
on the head,
obelisks
eating the body of
represent
Christ.
power.
They're,
They're
I
not
do.
sexual.
I
It's
do.
got nothing to do with gender or sex. It's
no,
about
but Satanicism
power.
has always been involved in
No, I'm not
sexual
saying it's not
essence.
about Satanism. I'm saying
But that's
it's
what
got
these
nothing to
symbols
do
It's a
with the
representation
penis.
of power.
Yes. Or if you're a pagan, it represents the connection to the divine between heaven and earth, which I
So,
prefer. And you should, because you're into Vikingism.
Yes, what I was about to say,
You're Vikingese.
I am. What I was about to say, then that is yet another example of how ancient traditions have been inverted. So
Yeah.
they've taken something that's divine and turned it.
Yeah, but the thing is, we all interpret things differently. We could all look at a flower of whatever colour and come up with a different meaning for it.
And that's what life's all about.
Yeah, we're all
And the fact is,
different.
it's the hieroglyphics actually on it actually states that it's satanic symbolism. It
Yeah,
says
and
it
if there's
is.
something
All
on
the
it that says
Egyptians had
that-
satanic symbolism on their obelisks. Even the Washington
I
one.
don't know enough about hieroglyphs to know what they write about.
I must improve my bust, but I
moves.
Rudy, what's your opinion on
I
it?
do. I don't know enough about it. To be
But
honest.
what is your physical, personal opinion on it?
I think you know my opinion.
Physical,
Well, say it.
personal opinion.
I mean,
We've all got an entitled
everything
opinion.
revolves around Satanism, right?
It does.
And no matter what we're taught, what we believe, it's all been reversed. You know,
Everything, yes. Yeah.
everything's been reversed, and it's all for the negative, kind of. You know,
To take you away from the divinity,
take you away
from your
from
divine.
your spiritual self, your true self. And that's what I believe. Sorry, but that's
It is.
my
It's
opinion.
all this symbolism, satanic, this Baphomet and this Baal shit and all that is all one thing.
It's everywhere you
To
see it.
change
everywhere.
your point of view from being spiritual and religious, not religious, wrong word, to be, sorry, I'll retract that, to be divine. It's to take your divinity away from you.
It's all in the symbolism. The symbolism is everywhere. You see it every day. In
But the thing
streets.
is, if you don't know, most people don't know, it doesn't matter, does it?
No.
People look at the hieroglyphs on Cleopatra's Needle and just think, oh, they're pretty pictures that come from Egypt. They're not going to know it's got anything to do with Masons.
No.
It's
Or
like
anything to do with Satanism. And being that Satan isn't actually real, they're worshipping a load of old...
I was lucky.
it's
I was unlucky or lucky enough to work in Gray's Inn Road a lot in
In
London.
where?
Gray's Inn Road in London. So much symbolism and so much Masonic shit down that
you've only
road.
got to look.
All the
at
walls that
I
go
don't-
down here
and
got
maybe it's because
symbolism
I
on it.
don't,
It's horrible.
but I don't let myself worry about it.
I mean, you
like
go
that,
to
that's why.
the BBC, right? What do you see when you confront you with a statue
Of a paedophile.
of a paedophile?
Made by a paedophile with a kid in it. With his penis hanging out.
Right in front.
Right in front
Who
of you.
is it? Who's it a statue of?
It's
I'll
a
tell you,
statue.
one sec, I'll find this out for
Don't
you.
tell
find
me it's
it.
Jimmy
I'll find it.
Savile.
No,
That's not
but it's
Jimmy
a guy
Savile.
with a little child.
You see a guy
Oh, it's
standing
not
there.
someone well known. It's just
I'll
a
tell you.
statue.
It's actually
Well,
set
I've never
into the.
been.
It's actually set into the building's front.
Yeah, you can
Face
see it. I mean, when we
What is
were-
the statue of the BBC? It was actually the Orwell Society owns a statue of Orwell sculpted by Martin Jennings, who was a registered paedophile.
Registered? Do you register now?
He was on a register. He was actually a convicted paedophile that had sex with his kids and his dog.
Oh my God. You
Right?
don't have kids, you
Outside
don't
the
have
broadcasting house at the headquarters of London BBC.
Symbolism is all
If you
round.
want to know what he looks like, it's a picture of a bloke holding a naked child between his legs.
Yes.
That's it.
There you go.
When
Some
we
bloke
was,
tried to
That's
Have
the-
a look.
I think was it last year? Or the year before?
Someone tried to chisel off his dick.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we was up there on a march and
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, we was there.
telling the
weren't
BBC what we thought of them.
Yeah.
And there was someone up there trying
we? Trying to knock it off.
And don't get me started on
Face
Keir
it.
Starmer and the BBC.
to. Comedy Kia.
I don't want to get on that one. You know what
What,
happened
Farmer Keir Starmer.
when he was CPS.
Farmer Keir.
Comedy Keith.
Comedy Keir.
Yeah.
I heard Nigel Farage's.
He's standing for the Reform Party now,
I know,
isn't he?
brilliant.
5
Did you see-
years.
did you
I was
see
like,
him,
go and get in there, son.
You see that stage event where he got a milkshake thrown at him?
Yeah, someone chucked that. There, yeah.
Yeah,
Even
that
he
was
looked at him and laughed at the woman. He was like, yeah, whatever.
And you actually see him with his arm around him.
Yeah.
No, that's Emily Hewitson.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, completely different person.
Oh,
It actually is.
I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, but do you know what? I don't like Nigel Farage, but I do agree with a certain lot of
I like
things he's
him.
done. Right, I agree with what he's done. I think,
I mean, he got us out of, you know,
yeah,
He was instrumental in getting us the EU vote.
and he got a heck of a lot of people behind him. A lot
he
of
did.
people.
And he's going to have a lot of people behind him this time.
The best bit about Nigel,
Because no one wants to vote Can't Starmer. No one wants to vote Itchy
What,
Nutsack.
cheeks are the same arse. No,
Yeah.
come on, no.
what he's done is given Reform UK probably a
Big
11
boost,
point boost,
big boost.
11
Yeah.
point boost at least. And what I like about him is whether or not you disagree with him is immaterial, but he upsets all the right people.
He does, and I like that.
He,
And he upset the EU. He told
Yep.
them waving the British flag.
Yeah,
Do you remember
told
that?
Tony
Yeah.
Blair what he thought of
He
it.
told Tony
Yeah.
Blair to go and
Can
do one.
I just change the subject slightly?
No.
The statue outside the BBC is not Orwell, it's Prospero and Ariel.
No, it says, as he says here,
and
the Orwell
paedophile-
Society owns it
Hang on,
now.
the paedophile was the sculptor.
Martin
Someone went up-
Jennings.
Someone up and attacked the sculpture because they believed the sculptor was a paedophile. Or maybe the sculptor was a paedophile, but the actual sculpture is
Was by Eric Gill, who was actually
Yeah.
that's it. I'm looking
So
at the BBC restoring.
The Prospero and Ariel statue was carved by Eric Gill
Yeah.
and has been on display at the BBC since 1933. There has been a campaign to have the statue removed for several years because the sculptor recorded sexually abusing his daughters
And
in
his dog.
diaries.
And his dog.
Oh, I didn't say his dog.
Eric Gill was evil. He sculptured the BBC.
Yeah, but Orwell wasn't. It's not a statue.
Now Orwell is the Orwell Society own it and preserve it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's owned by them now. It's not owned by the BBC. They own it
But
to
it will make
preserve it.
sense why the guy's done a picture of a little boy naked then. That's a horrible statue anyway.
Exactly.
Vile.
And it's
Why would
worse
they
than
use
BBC.
Not
that?
even attractive.
Fucking horrible.
And what's the BBC good for? EastEnders and protecting paedophiles.
Nothing.
Jimmy Savile.
Yeah.
Protecting paedophiles.
Top of the. Oh no, that's gone.
Top of the pop show. Hello, pop pickers.
Panorama. Oh, no, that's gone.
No, that's gone.
Crime Watch.
No,
That's
Young
gone.
ones.
Young
No,
Ones.
no.
Good night, sweetheart. Oh, that's gone as well.
Yeah.
EastEnders. Oh.
Ashes to. No, that was 14 years ago now.
Death in Paradise.
Back to
Oh,
Mars.
that was-
But Life of
That's
Mars.
Life of Mars. That's gone as well. Oh, that's gone.
Yeah, that was
Blackadder. That's gone.
2003, 2006
Dad's Army. That's gone.
was
You
Life
are
of Mars.
so old.
They've got new Doctor Who, haven't they?
Oh, I love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Doctor Who. I haven't watched it for years. I don't know.
Doctor
why.
Who?
You don't.
And I don't watch TV.
Doctor Who.
Don't watch BBC
Who?
anymore.
Who?
Have nothing to
No,
do with
nor do
BBC.
I. So I
Who?
can't watch it.
Doctor Who. Who?
Exactly.
I don't have nothing to do with the British
Torture
Bullshit
if you
Corporation.
mess
No.
up- mess up
British
there.
Brainwashing Corporation.
Yeah, British brainwashing them.
Like
Corporation.
standing there
BBC
saying,
very
20 minutes
fine.
before the World Trade Center Building 7 comes down, as you can see behind me, the World Trade Center and Building 7 just come down. 20 minutes later, it falls down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
How did you?
Thing is, they've never tried to explain that. They've never.
They never defended it. They won't
they've
defend it
never
because they can't.
attempted. I think I read one thing where they said it was a foregone conclusion that the building was going to collapse because of the damage caused
But 20
by,
minutes before!
by the Twin Towers. Yeah, it still doesn't justify. Yeah,
But
this has got nothing to do with Egypt though.
no,
It has.
No, it has.
It has. Because the BBC were reporting in Egypt when they built the pyramids, according
Yeah.
to that, what they said. The BBC were actually, the BBC's been around for centuries, and apparently they were actually broadcast live because they're the main conspiracy theorists, if you like it, or fictional conspiracy theorists that say that the pyramids are real. The
Yeah, 'cause
pyramids
they've
are
now
made
got
by man.
It's now got BBC Verify, of course.
Because the BBC verified because one of their
Top reporters.
article, what do you call it? What
I
do they call
believe
it?
the pyramids were made by man, but I think it was collaboratively with other species.
I believe it's made by Nephilim, to be
I
honest.
think that's probably the nearest we'll get to it.
I think they were made by Nephilim, if you want my truth. The nearest you're going to get to humans.
It's a combination of giants, sound resonance, and
Other
Eagles,
aliens
aliens.
together.
And Travis Perkins hiring out cranes.
Yeah.
Travis Perkins.
Being
'Cause-
cute.
No, it's Travis Perkins because they hired. Who's the
Travis
big company?
Perkins,
JCB.
Travis.
JCB used to hire their
JCB,
cranes out to it.
yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.
My ears.
so just quick. Because we're approaching
The
the 11
CERN
o'clock.
giant.
Who?
Sorry.
The CERN giant, is that?
CERN giant?
CERNE giant.
Yeah.
See?
CERN giant.
I'm looking it up
Farage,
now.
Farage is a Freemason. We know that.
We know that.
Depends what level.
But he's not up and high. So.
He's not 33, is he?
But
More like
actually, they
Oh
say
yeah,
that.
the sun
21.
giant is the one that's drawn on the hill.
Yes, that's the one with the penis on the hill
Yeah.
there. The white man.
Now
was
that is phallic.
yeah, of course it is.
No, I just think
That was
that's
actually
a shame.
used. Actually,
Yeah,
that was
that's
actually
all.
used for fertility for the south of England. That was actually used to bring fertility to the area.
Owned by the National Trust.
Yeah, of course, the National Trust.
They're all
Yeah.
pregnant down there now.
Right.
It was originally carved as an image of the classical hero Hercules as a rallying point
Yeah,
for
yeah, the big
mustering
penis.
West Saxon armies at a
For
time
the Essex
when
Guild.
Dorset was being attacked by the Adam Vikings.
Yes.
Bring it on.
And they
There ain't
captured
no
all-
shit that we haven't been involved
And
in.
they captured all the Essex. And they captured all the Essex.
Apart from the BBC,
girls,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
No, if we were still here,
Don't
we'd
want to
kick
get
their
involved in
asses
that
too.
shit.
Right,
No.
just quickly going back to Egypt and the pyramids. This is coming from the Gods and Millennium again. Mathematical excellence. There was sound about,
Dimensions of the
yeah.
Yeah.
This only sort of briefly touches on it, but the pyramids at Giza are sometimes called the only true pyramids because they are the only ones in Egypt with sides that rise at the perfect angle
Yep.
of 52 degrees.
Yep.
Why is 52 degrees so important?
I don't know.
This angle embodies in the pyramid the mathematical pi factor. And we're not talking about steak and kidney.
Yeah.
Or chicken and mushroom.
No.
Well, that means beef and onion.
But more significantly, it is only at 52 degrees that the ratio of the height of the pyramid to its base perimeter is exactly the same as that of the radius of the circle for its circumference. Furthermore, the 52-degree pyramid also builds in the special geometric feature of the golden section. The technical difficulties with building at the extremely steep angle of 52 degrees are evidenced by the collapsed pyramid at Maiden and the bent pyramid at Dashur.
Ben? Oh, yes,
you know one.
Yeah.
The latter having been changed in mid-construction to the safer angle of 43.5 degrees. This angle also embodies pi, but not in the perfect sense of 52 degrees pyramid.
3.1214.
Yeah. The mathematical symmetry of the Great Pyramid is such that the angles of the ascending and descending passages, when added together, closely approximate the 52-degree angle at which the pyramid itself rises from the ground. All studies of the pyramids have confirmed the use of pi in their design and caused a reassessment of the mathematical knowledge of Egyptians. Unfortunately, the more measurements that are taken, the more likely that the arbitrary of coincidental relationships will turn up, and this has certainly happened in the case of the Great Pyramid, where many researchers have been determined to find new relationships to fit their preconceived theories. Nevertheless, the more outrageous and contrived claims should not be allowed to detract from the many genuine features of the pyramid, which are truly astounding. We have already covered the polar. Oh yeah, because the polar alignment is another bit of the book. And aspects of the amazing scale and features of the design. Right, it's now time to get down to the nitty-gritty. So we're now going on to a bit that said 20th century engineering, and there's only one bit of this. Our first example of 20th century engineering in the Giza pyramids is the six-sided limestone casing blocks, which were polished and precision carved to fit perfectly with each other and the core stones, with joints measuring less than 1/50th of an inch.
It was kind of like that was, you can compare that their limestone was like shiplap, where they're linked to each other.
Yeah.
It's made like that.
And the joints are measuring less than 1/50th of an inch.
Like tongue and groove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As if this was not incredible enough, all of these stones were found to be joined together with an extremely fine but strong cement, which had been applied evenly on semi-vertical faces across a surface expanse covering 21 acres on the Great Pyramid alone.
And not many plasterers nowadays can actually keep cement without dripping off.
Not now, no.
No, but how did
Because
they do
now
it back
we rely
then?
on other methods, but and I'm not saying there's not other involvement other than humans, but if you go back through history, our stonemasons, for example, were far more skilled than we are now because they had to be.
Yeah. So I mean, you've got to appreciate the grand scale of these things.
So are you saying that Southend-on-Sea Borough Council maintenance team didn't do this?
Well, no, because it's in Egypt.
I know, I'm just saying.
Oh, right.
I mean,
unlikely.
It was a joke.
But I mean, I know what you're saying, but I mean, like she's, I mean, these things are massive, absolutely. I mean,
It is worth pointing out
21 acres.
that when you
And they were
use-
mathematically...
When you use a copper pyramid spiritually for healing, it's 51 to 52 degrees.
Yeah, so
The perfect pyramid.
perfect pyramid.
And what it does is it enhances.
But they were mathematically perfect. Within
Yeah, but not just mathematically perfect. Is this because they had divine knowledge that we are losing
Yeah.
because of the way we're being dumbed down?
Yeah,
Imagine the brain power
Sorry,
that he would
get
have
that.
thought, would have realised.
Sorry to interrupt, I was a bit excited about it.
That's
But
all right.
there's another question for you, Adam. Imagine, well, a little theory. Imagine the brain power it would have took to mathematically work out every single angle, the size of the bricks, the diameter, the mass, and the actual how to interlink them.
Yeah.
That would have took centuries to make
Mm.
on a human scale. So I do believe there's
Unless we
something
had
more,
knowledge implied to us.
unless we had knowledge. Like thinking of film Contact, where the actual that major Stargate they built in Contact
Yeah.
was actually embedded in a binary code which is
Yeah.
transmitted over radio.
Yeah.
Let's just say that someone told them, and they worked out the blueprints
Yeah.
mathematically.
Yeah, we've got the capability to do it.
Yeah.
Well,
But
it's
remember,
all
we're born with everything we need.
Yeah.
And back then, there was nothing to take that away.
right.
No fluoride.
It goes on. Sir William Flinders Petrie, one of the most eminent archaeologists to have studied Giza, commented, merely to place such stones in exact contact would be careful work, but to do so with cement in the joints seems almost impossible.
Yeah.
It is to be compared with the finest optician's work. Then says the second example is the internal passages of the Great Pyramid. These passages have been measured countless times and found to be perfectly straight, with a deviation, in the case of the descending passage, of less than 1/50th of an inch along its masonry part. Over a length of 150 feet, that is incredible. If one includes the further 200 feet of passage bored through the solid rock, the error is less than 1/4 of an inch. Now, this is engineering of the highest precision,
Yeah.
comparable with 20th century technology, but supposedly achieved 4,500 years ago.
Imagine how they got the insides in there. They'd have to done it level by level, stone by stone, make one level, do the next level, and it would have to be mathematically correct to get all the rooms to line up symmetrically,
Yeah.
all those tunnels to go up.
Yeah.
The manpower that would have been needed, if you talk about humans, to chisel all that rock out would have took hundreds of years.
We could barely do that with lasers now.
No, exactly.
And we're led to believe that they've done it with what? Freaking chicken bones
I don't
and...
know.
Chicken bones, a flint thing on a rock.
Yeah.
That's what I
know
mean.
that there are extraterrestrial beings that have been.
So it goes on, it says, our third example is the machining of the granite within the pyramids. One of the first archaeologists to carry out a thorough survey of the pyramid was Petrie, who was particularly struck by the granite coffer in the king's chamber. I'll quickly mention something about that in a minute, but and I've already spoken about it, but I'll go back on that. The precision with which the coffer had been carved out of a single block of extremely hard granite struck him as quite remarkable. So that was a block of granite, and it was carved out.
It's really hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very hard substance.
What are you talking about? The whole king's chamber?
Yeah,
That would have been
that
some
cough, what they call the
huge
coffer.
bit of graphite rock.
So that coffer would have been one solid bit of granite.
So how did they get that
Carved
up there to
out.
put it on there?
Yeah.
That would have been 100,000 tons or something like that of rock, and someone's gone in there and carved it out.
And so I'll mention something else about that in a minute. But so Petrie estimated, this is with 20th century engineering, Petrie estimated that diamond tip drills would need to have been applied with a pressure of 2 tons in order to hollow out the granite
Wouldn't have
blocks.
been around then,
Crap, isn't it?
because they didn't understand the period of diamonds then. That
It
we
was
do.
not a serious suggestion as to the method actually used, but simply his way of expressing the impossibility of creating that artifact using 19th century technology. It is still a difficult challenge even now.
Made in Egypt.
And yet we are supposed to believe that Khufu achieved this at a time when the Egyptians possessed only the most basic copper hand tools. In 1995, an English engineer named Chris Dunn, visited Egypt with the express intention of figuring out how their granite artifacts were produced. Dunn appeared to me to have the right qualifications for the task, including an open mind for, in his own words used, but simply his way of expressing. When I look at the artifact with a view of how it was manufactured, I am encumbered with a predisposition to filter out possibilities because of historical or chronological iniquity.
Yeah.
Having spent most of my career involved with the machinery that actually creates artifacts of the modern kind, such as jet engine components, I am fairly well equipped to analyse and determine the methods necessary for recreating an artifact under study. I have been fortunate also to have training and experience in some non-conventional methods of manufacturing, such as laser processing and electrical discharge machining. Dunn visited the Cairo Museum, the pyramids and the granite quarry at Aswan in an attempt to figure out the processes that were used. It quickly became clear to him that many of the artifacts could not have been made without the use of very advanced machinery. We would be hard pressed to produce many of these artifacts today, even using our advanced methods of manufacturing. The tools displayed as instruments for the creation of these artifacts are physically incapable of even coming close to reproducing many of the artifacts in question. Chris Dunn found that many artifacts bore the same marks as conventional 20th century machining methods, sawing, lathe and milling practices. He was particularly interested, however, in the evidence of modern processing technique known as tree pounding. This process is used to excavate a hollow in a block of hard stone by first drilling and then breaking out the remaining core. Petrie had studied both the hollows and the cores and been astonished to find spiral grooves on the core which indicated a drill feed rate of 0.1 inch per revolution of the drill. This initially seemed to be impossible. In 1983, Dunn had ascertained that industrial diamond drills could cut granite with a drill rotation speed of 900 revolutions per minute and a feed rate. Really?
They had
said 0.1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is our feed rate, 0.0002 inch per revolution.
Yeah.
What these technicalities actually mean is that the ancient Egyptians were cutting their granite with a feed rate 500 times greater than 1983 technology.
It's like the Egyptians had DeWalt tools and like Manteca tools, didn't they? They're drilling through bloody stone.
It defies, do you know what I mean?
How many men would it took on a drill to do that?
Yeah.
On a drill, a man-made drill to drill through that, it would have took months per block.
Yeah.
It can't be done.
So then he goes, Dunn was thus forced to consider more recent and less conventional machining methods. He asked himself what single method could explain all the physical observations on the hollows and cores, including one particular mystery of how the spiral groove had cut deeper into the quartz content of the granite, which was, I think it's supposed to be harder, looks like a typo, which was harder than the surrounding rock. Dunn posed the same challenge independently to another engineer, and eventually they both came to the same conclusion. The only possible method which fitted at all the facts was ultrasonic machining.
Yep. Water. Water would have been the only thing strong enough to cut through that stone.
Sonic is sound.
No, but using water,
No,
high
see, yeah.
frequency
High pressure water.
would have been enough to cut through it like a laser.
Yeah.
You can cut steel with high pressure water.
Yeah.
So, you know, really.
And they had access to a ton of water.
Mm. But how did they get the energy to build it?
Well, more
Yeah.
than a ton.
In the late 20th century, the ultrasonic tool bit has found particular favour in the precision machining of unusually shaped holes in hard, brittle materials such as hardened steels, which is said about cutting metal, carbides, ceramics and semiconductors. Chris Dunn compares the drilling process to the motion of a jackhammer on a concrete pavement, but vibrating faster than the eye can see at 19 to 25,000 cycles per second.
Yeah, righto. In what in like fucking 200 BC? I
But
don't
the
think
thing
so.
is, we've got to remember this is what we
Whatever
they
year.
may have had a completely different method that we have no idea about.
Well, they obviously did because
We're
historians are
basically
telling us.
basing it on what we know, but
Yeah.
they may know other things.
So they brought Bob the stonemason in from
no,
the night
I
from
mean,
Syria.
they could have had a technique
Bob the Builder.
far more advanced than what we are talking about. We just
Yeah.
don't know about it because we don't have the
We're
evidence.
comparing it to what we can do
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's
And
what
he
they
does say back there that there's some marks in there which indicate that there was a drill used, but
Maybe they
it's
just
saying, but it was the feed rate of 0.1 inch per revolution, which is 500 times greater than
They
anything
couldn't
we're
even
capable
make
of.
one that perfect today.
Yeah,
Using every.
that's what I'm
If
saying.
you gave them an unlimited budget and said to all the world leaders, put together, I want you to build a pyramid that's exactly next to the pyramid of Giza, exactly perfect. You got 5 years. They wouldn't even get half the stone cut
No.
for the base.
So yeah, they obviously had access to advanced technology
They must have had.
in some description, but
Or they were
Egypt-
capable of it and
Yeah.
they've gone backwards.
yeah,
Which
exactly.
tells me that
But-
the ancient Egyptians wasn't human.
Our Egyptian experts and historians trying to tell us that they cut it with freaking bone saws and whatever.
No, don't believe that at all.
And yet here we are.
Actually, if you look at all the research, no one claims they did anything. They say it's possible that, or maybe they did this, or our theory is this. No one's actually stood up and gone, this is how it was done, because
Again, it's
No one
we
can.
just
No
don't
one knows.
No one knows.
No.
There is nothing.
And Egyptians
Literal
like their
thousands of
mechanics.
years old.
The Egyptians love their mechanics, and in certain pyramids, there are mechanical mechanisms which actually remove doors.
Yeah.
Right, cogs, massive stone cogs. Now you think of a cog that has to be mathematically perfect to turn a certain revolution to move that door to one other cog, which has to go around one revolution to move a door 30 foot.
Yeah.
We can't even do that without
Oh my
electronics.
god, I know how they did it.
Go on.
They used millions and millions of scarab beetles.
That's got to be
And
it.
they just gnaw through the
Yeah.
granite
Yeah.
and make it perfect. And it's the
That's gotta
scarab
be it.
beetles that move the
Yeah.
doors.
Do you know, I think you
Yeah.
nailed it.
You're talking about concrete wheels, scarab
Yeah.
beetles going really
Yeah.
quickly. instead of
I
moving.
reckon it was a load of hamsters. Hamsters generating.
I stole the
Ev-
Egyptian
Errol the
pyramid.
hamster was responsible. But
Harry the hamster.
no,
I'm a
but,
little bit
I mean,
small and a little bit
no
furry. No, not him.
Egyptologist or historian.
There isn't
Would be-
anyone who has
no.
a theory really that's
No,
fits.
but they wouldn't be prepared to admit based on
Yeah.
what an experienced engineer has told them. They wouldn't be prepared to admit, or
Yeah.
maybe they were actually capable of doing this, but we just don't know how. And they were
Yeah.
supposed to be, little short barbarians or whatever.
I reckon Google done it.
Yeah, there's just a couple of paragraphs on this. It said, yeah, assisted by right, so that 1925,000 cycles per second, assisted by an abrasive slurry or paste, the tool bit cut by an
Oscillating.
oscillatory grinding action. This feature, and only this feature, can explain the groove cut deeper into the harder quartz. In machining granite using ultrasonics, the harder material, quartz, would not necessarily offer more resistance as it might during conventional machining practices. The quartz that's in the granite would be induced to respond and vibrate in sympathy with the high frequency ultrasonic waves and amplify the abrasive action as the tool cut through it. The unavoidable conclusion is that whoever built the Giza pyramids possessed extraordinary machinery and the capability to use it. Furthermore, the accuracy is such that the cutting tool alone is not sufficient. These tools must have been guided not by the human eye but by computer.
Gotta be.
End of
Two
story.
theories. Number one, they're either got to be alien built, or number two, it's the Irish because they build every fucking thing.
Yeah,
That's it.
It's got to be.
and I'll do it off
Or a
price.
collaboration of
Oh, that's a
many
lot then.
races.
On a conspiracy, I do reckon that ancient Egyptians were a form of Anunnaki, and
Well,
they
they were
had
the
the
master builders.
they had the technology. They're builders. They had the
Master
technology and
It's
stone
not
materials.
just in
It's got to
Egypt.
be.
There are pyramids all over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
In
one.
Antarctica.
There's one been
discussed them,
found
actually.
in the rainforest.
And in Antarctica, there's been.
We can discuss the other pyramids next time.
I don't mean the pyramids that are covered where we're saying, oh, are they pyramids? Are they're meant to be mountains, but they look like pyramids. I mean actual pyramids that have been excavated and are found to be pyramids. So it's not just the Egyptians. There must have been something going on around that time across the whole of the world.
Yes, there was.
At that point.
Yes, there was.
How about next time?
But why would the Anunnaki? Why would the Anunnaki, who are apparently evil, nasty buggers?
Not all of them.
No, they weren't all.
I thought they're controlling us. They've got office in a big.
Most of them are, yeah.
That's why there's wars in heaven.
You're forgetting that the
Wars in heaven.
You're forgetting that there
But
was.
we're talking. We're not talking the heaven that we get.
Oh, that's why we need a space force.
Hang on a minute. You're forgetting that the Earth was vied over by different races.
Yeah.
So you know.
How about
I
next?
just don't understand why
How about next time?
race would be interesting.
Change the subject slightly. How about next time?
We are
We're a
unique.
mess.
No.
We're
How
unique,
about
you.
next
We've
time?
been made a mess. We aren't.
Other significant
Pyramids.
statues, such as Stonehenge, ley lines, and that sort of thing. How about that for the next one?
We can do.
Easter Island, yeah, because obviously with the figurines going right the way down with feet and arms and legs.
You've got these buildings with massive doorways. I mean, what would they build? Massive, like 20-foot, 30-foot doorways for a small human.
There's a good theory, there's a good program, a bloke called EP01. I ain't heard of him for a few years. EP01 his name is, and he went all through the mud floods and the buildings that are underground.
Yeah.
And he uncovered loads of pictures and schematics of buildings where they've got 3 sub-levels with doors and windows that have been bricked up underground. And when they've done roadworks on certain places in Italy where there's cathedrals galore and all these religious buildings, when they've dug the road up to lay new pipe work and all that, they've actually dug right down and there's arches and doorways 40 foot underground. Why?
Why would they dug down
Because of
40
the mud
feet?
floods. The mud floods actually come down and created it.
They dig down 40 feet.
No, that's when the buildings were originally made.
No, but why would they dig down 40 feet if they're laying pipes? They'd only dig down 6 or 7.
Whatever. But if you're going on a hill like that, they've got to dig that whole hill out to put the pipes going up. They will do. And they've had to put structural, and when there have been landslides, they watch E1 and his theory of...
Is this the Lost Flat Earth thing?
No, it's not Lost Flat Earth. It's not on Flat Earth. He's actually talking about the mud floods.
Buildings. His voice does my...
Does it go?
Buildings. Buildings. It's an L, not a W. Not buildings. Buildings.
Buildings.
But that's
I know,
just
I
his...
realise I sound really
I'm not being funny. The
sloppy and I'm
bloke
not.
spent months
Yeah.
researching and educating himself on that stuff. So he put it out there as a theory, which is what is good for people to
And
do.
it is a theory, but the reason there's
Mostly
there are levels beneath the ground is because the buildings that were really special and ornate were not houses. They were public buildings, and they were designed to show off and to show wealth and affluence and importance, and to keep all the people like us living in fear.
500 years ago, we didn't have the technology to wipe our own arses, let alone
we're,
fucking build buildings like
These weren't
that.
built 500 years ago, but because
built longer than that.
we're just menials. So they were never people's houses. They were buildings where people took
I didn't say the
the
people's
time
houses.
to build them, but they didn't care about the roads for us. So every
'Cause
time there was some rain and a storm, we kicked them
If
out
you
everywhere,
go
and
into the theory of a cathedral,
eventually the mud would end up covering the layers, and they would just build over them. They didn't have the technology or they didn't have the means to be digging down or the time to dig down. They just didn't care enough. They just built over everything.
every cathedral, right,
Reaches for the sky.
every cathedral was actually a power generator. They used mercury
apparently
infused
so.
in the middle of a resonance chamber, which is perfectly, take some Paul's Cathedral, right? Perfectly, with all the bloody, take it away, yeah. You had the conductors and you had the spires.
I've not seen that. I've
The
not
resonance
seen
that
the
would
Mercury
actually,
Centre.
for the electrical magnetism to spin round in that, would create such a force, it was like a fusion
But it's
reactor.
a theory.
It's a theory,
It's not
but it's
proof.
theory based on actually what's coming out at the
Yeah,
moment.
but where's the Mercury? Where have
I'm
we
an
seen
electrical
that?
engineer.
No, but I'm not asking.
I,
you, I'm
I,
asking
I don't
people
even
who've
understand
said-
it, but I
who've
understand the
said there's
resonant
Mercury in the
frequency of
centre.
it.
Where? How do they know that? Have they been in there and dismantled the building to check? This is what I'm saying. I understand you don't believe the BBC, you don't believe mainstream media.
I don't
You
believe any of them.
what we're taught in schools, and that's absolutely fine. But you can't just go, right, this bloke on YouTube said this, so I'm going to believe it. Where is the evidence? And this is the thing about
Because
the
he's gone
documentary I
through
was talking
pictures
about.
after pictures after pictures and
Pictures is fine,
theories.
that's not going to show the Mercury.
But
in
he's
the
gone.
middle.
He's done the research on it. You can't knock someone for spending months and years
You cannot,
researching.
no.
Right.
But there is
the
nothing.
BBC come along and go, oh, by the way, you're all fucking stupid because what
So
it is
how
is
do
just
you
a
know there's
cathedral.
mercury in the centre of these buildings?
Because mercury is one of the major elements to create actually electrical fusion. Did you know
Yes,
that?
but how do you know they are actually in the building that makes that happen? How the guy's saying, "Oh, this is a conductor," but where's it? Show me the mercury then. Show me it's there. You can't.
The mercury's not there. It was all removed. It was all removed before the mud floods in 1902.
Right. So how does he know it was ever there then?
Because there's
Records. Of
right
it?
no the old scriptures of electrical technology, which is dated in 1600, right before we was even thinking about electricity coming along, right. The residual properties of EMF fields, which what Tesla did.
Talking about ley lines again.
Well, ley
So
lines
wait
as
a minute,
well.
400 years ago when we were
Ether energy was
using a
used.
pony and trap and a pole and concrete wheels, we created these amazing structures with mercury. Actually, if you touch
We didn't
your
create
hands, we didn't
create them.
You can actually
I don't think
suffer
we're the
from.
ones that created
We did not create them.
How do you
Every
know?
reset, they reuse those buildings for new things.
Oh yeah, see, but I don't see any evidence of a reset. I
No,
don't see
because you
the
wasn't
evidence.
around, Gloria.
No, so there is no evidence. There's nothing to say there's been a reset.
And there's no evidence that it actually is what the name
I'll
actually
tell you
says.
the evidence
have
I've seen
got-
of a reset. In 1887, this guy who kept saying buildings showed some photos of some cities, and they were completely empty. There were no people. It was the middle of the day. You could tell it was the middle of the day because of the way the shadows were on the ground.
Yeah.
And they were
Where are
empty.
people then?
But someone tied the pony and trap up to the fence. I wonder who did that, because that pony wasn't going anywhere. That was tied to the fence. Who tied the pony to the fence?
In one picture.
There's no picture. Shall I tell? No, in most pictures. So, shall I tell you why there was no one in those pictures? Because back in 1887, when they first brought out photography, it would take a quarter of an hour to take a photograph. And that's why people stood like this in their portrait.
As far as you
And
believe.
not. No, my granddad was a photographer. He was a proper expert. So, and the reason they used to not smile is because you can't hold a smile for a quarter of an hour.
So
and make
you
face.
say the technology's
So
moved
you
it.
would stand there and you would keep very still because the shutter speed was so slow.
But you saying the
So
technology
anybody moving around
is new then?
Anybody moving around in 1887 when a photograph was being taken would not be seen.
Yeah.
You would have to stand still. Hence the pony and trap being
Because it's not
visible
moving.
because the pony's not moving
Yeah.
and why the place looks empty. If the place is empty, who's taking the bloody photograph, and B, who's tied the pony and trap to the fence? So this is what we know about photography. You can say, oh well, this is, but facts are facts. This is how cameras work.
There was one more thing as well. Have you noticed you see these buildings, but the backgrounds were edited out?
What do you mean?
They were edited out.
What photographs?
Well, you know, you see some of the buildings, the old buildings,
Buildings.
and they were edited out, and you think, hang
The
on a
fact is, most
what-
most
what-
photographic
Photoshopped
before the
these.
I think it's before the 1850s. Most photographs were actually line drawings. They were people's personal drawings.
Before what, sorry?
And you,
Before 1860, most pictures that you've got are all line drawings
and
of
you saw
pencil.
these
They're pencil
scaffoldings
drawings.
up, and you're thinking, oh, and some of them weren't, you know, weren't. Some of them were edited out, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, you know, this is. It's not right.
And the problem now, when we try and get evidence, AI can be used for anything. So you can't
the
trust
one-
photographs that you take now. You
No.
can't trust
The
videos
one
now.
thing we have got some form of evidence for in terms of a Great Reset is a flood.
Yes.
The mud floods. That's
I'm
not-
talking
no,
I know,
about-
and you're talking about mud floods,
And
but mud
fires.
I'm not
floods.
talking about flood, I'm talking about the flood.
And fire.
No, but I mean mud floods that only cover one level of buildings.
Well, if you look at the
Where's all the mud gone?
if you look at the flood, you've got that on a certain mountain.
Oh, you mean Noah's flood?
You've got Noah's Ark sitting on a mountainside.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Well, you've got a boat.
You've
We
got a
don't
boat
know
which
if it's
has been basically
But you've
macrame
got-
into the
but
bloody
what
crust.
you have
Yeah.
got, there's three things, I suppose. You've got what we believe to be Noah's Ark discovered on a mountain in Turkey. You've then got numerous evidence of mountains that have got marine
Yeah.
remains of marine life
Of course,
on them.
yeah.
And then you've got the story of the flood being written about in just about every
Yeah, all
civilization
religious
around the
books,
world.
Yeah, they didn't affect the
absolutely.
pyramids, though, did they?
eh?
No,
They didn't affect the
But
pyramids.
it
and
might
Noah
have-
managed to get
but
one
it
picture
might
of
have
every
washed-
angle from around the world.
But it might have washed away
I
the
think he's a great collector.
Rudy. But it might have washed away the limestone on it, which is why the
That
limestone got
that
removed.
white limestone, because I heard well, when they were built, they were quite.
I think the
flourishing
Pikey
as
stole it, but there you go.
Weren't they? It was quite.
No, they'd have had to go.
But you had
I had
the
the gold
Nile,
off top,
you
yeah.
had the Nile.
Thing is, there's a lot of things that just don't make sense.
No, we don't know. This is the idea of it's us doing this.
So,
No one's
but
opinion.
I do know that's the thing about photography.
But no
So
one's
when he was
opinion.
using, that's for me. That's not evidence because that's how the camera works.
But with all due
Yeah.
respect, the idea of these round tables is to discuss and dispute
yeah.
without no malice whatsoever. So
I know, I still love you.
one opinion doesn't
And I
override
love
another
you,
one.
And I love you.
And I love you.
Oh,
I love
thanks.
you.
Whether you believe that they were built by aliens, I believe they were built by Nephilim, and Rudy believes they were built by humans. It doesn't make a difference. It's the idea of
The thing
put
is,
it all
are
together.
angels really angels or are they aliens? We
We don't
really
know.
don't know.
no one knows.
I
All
mean,
I know
I'm
is they
making an
come from the
assumption
sky.
because of what I believe
Yeah.
in terms of the divine.
All I do know,
The angels are ascending.
all I do know is spirit guides are an ascent.
Arcturians or Lemurians or some other thing.
Yeah,
Palladians.
Larians,
Oh,
Palladians,
Palladians,
All I know is
Syrians,
spirits.
Syrians.
Spirit guides are people that choose to come into your life, whether they're human or alien, no matter what.
And
You
they're
know
leaders,
this.
all three of them.
The thing is, then they're not all spirit guides. I mean,
They're guides.
They're guides.
They're guides. I mean, I don't know what.
But if we think of spirit as a different dimension and
Yeah.
not solid,
Yeah.
then
The
yeah.
reason why I call them
True,
spirit
yeah.
guides is because they're of spirit, of a soul.
Yeah,
That's
they're
how I look
dimensional.
at. I look at spirits
dimensional
as
guides.
souls.
It's a different entity, isn't it? I mean, they could be very powerful telepaths, for all we know. They could be. They could, send you messages in your head, and you just think you pick it up. It's like a radio receiver.
Yeah.
And that's all we are. We're radio receivers.
Yeah.
That's what mediums do.
Yeah.
Get, get vibrations.
Some are Amstrad, some are Goodmans, and some are Sony.
Well.
Yeah.
But the only
I'm
thing
a
I don't-
bush.
the only
Oh
thing-
no, I'm a.
You're what?
No, I'm. What did
Amstrad?
do? Is it Amstrad?
Amstrad, yeah.
Shoot.
You're an Amstrad.
Funai. I'm a Funai.
Funai.
Yeah.
You look one as well.
Shut.
Excuse me. I'm a Goodmans.
No, you're not. You're a bad.
Tell by the
man.
I'm a
ears.
Goodmans.
Well, take-
I'm not up there with the Sonys and the Mitsubishis and the
Yeah.
Panasonics, but I'm getting
I
them.
thought you was FA.
I work.
I'm a Toshiba. High
Hello,
sense.
Tosh. Got to Sheba.
Yeah. Hello, John. Got a motor.
How's that an
Hi.
FST?
God, we do just digress, don't we?
Yeah, we do, yeah.
Anyway, what about shutting this thing down? Anyway, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean
So who
we're
built the
rattling
pyramids then
on,
and we
Yeah,
decided?
well,
Right,
I think
my-
we're cool. It's coming up rather.
I think
We've got
I
it,
think
eh?
the Irish built the pyramids, and they were just basically gave them loads of liquor and said, "Fucking get on with that, and you can go home."
And
And
I
they just
think
fucking built it. They didn't give a fuck.
I
That's what
think
reckon.
it was the scarab beetles. Because in numbers, the
You've been
strength.
watching
No, I
so
do.
much,
I do believe it was
Race
Nephilim.
and
I
Lost
believe
Ark,
it was
mate.
some very powerful Nephilim because they were the only
I
ones.
believe it wasn't
Mummy.
just little
Mummy.
humans. Did you call me mummy?
No, the mummy.
Oh,
You are the mummy.
the mummy.
Yeah.
The daddy.
The film, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I understand bandage. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, that's it. And the scarabs.
You can leave now.
Thank you. Love you
I
too.
don't love you.
She was a
anymore.
scorpion queen.
Uh,
No, I do believe it was Nephilim mixed with a certain form of slave race,
Sorry,
whether
you
it's
know,
humans or
sorry,
whatever.
mate, we know
But
what you mean.
because
I
the only
don't like
ones,
the idea that we're
I-
a
I
slave
think-
race.
the only ones that could have lifted those rocks would have been Nephilim. Agreed.
Mm.
The only ones that could have lifted those rocks onto
No,
where they-
not if we're using some form of
Sunrise.
sonic energy
Yeah.
or using
Water
the power of
salad.
levitation, for want of a better word.
Okay.
Because remember back then we were more powerful. We had all of this at
Yeah,
our fingertips.
we
We don't
were-
have it now.
We were not closed off.
No.
But we would worship cats.
We were linked always.
But we
to
would
the
worship
divine.
cats that would sit there just to go.
Cats are cool.
They just
I am
knock
not
things
a cat
off of
person
shelves.
Until I had
That's
cats.
it. They used to
Cats
stick.
are great.
They used to stick rocks on the edge of scaffolding, and the cats used to knock them off into place. That's what they did.
No, they knocked them off and then they guide them with their minds.
Because they're nine-dimensional
feeding the right
beings. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, all joking aside.
Right.
So there we
So
have it.
we're no wiser, are we? At the end.
I
Of this?
think we can all agree is that we were taught bollocks at school.
No one knows what was done. We was all taught different things.
Yeah.
We were taught. So now
I
we
thought,
talk.
I thought it was
Yeah,
bill
we've
hooks.
got to talk it to talk it.
I thought it was bill hooks. Bollocks.
I
Bill
think
Hooks.
that
4 candles.
people can take from that what they will. They can, you know, we've thrown some stuff out there. What we have been
Yeah,
able
there's
to
some
give
over
you,
there,
yeah. I'll throw one down there. I've been able to give you the tape from experienced engineers who've said how the technology that we've got now, how it works and how it is so much inferior to whatever was used then. but we can only speculate on how it was done and who did it. So
It's all guesswork.
hope you enjoyed this first first
One
excursion.
thing before you go,
Go
how
on.
about putting a poll up, choosing 3 subjects, putting a poll on YouTube and letting
Yes.
people vote what they want next time.
Yeah.
Good idea, yeah.
Well, that's
Alright.
always
Oh,
good.
I like
we
that.
need input. This is
So if anyone wants a message or leave a comment,
Yeah, so
You're not just a phallic symbol, are you, Paul?
no,
you're not a
I'm
giant
just-
cock, not really.
I am a total phallic. I am.
I could see the ears.
My wife calls me a complete phallic sometimes, so yeah, I must agree.
Oh my god, I'm off chat. I'm done there. Right, so yeah. Alright, yeah, so yeah, if you want to drop some comments about other subjects for us to look at, and then we'll run a poll. And then we'll and we'll make that decision a couple of weeks before the next one. So don't forget the Yoblong round table will be again the first Wednesday of July.
Confused.
And don't forget we'll have the Ask a Medium. That will be the third Monday of this month, which I can't remember what the date is off the top of my head. What was the date Monday?
It's
We're on the
Monday.
16th, 17th.
I'm not here on the
17th.
4th,
17th.
11th.
Because the 16th
18th.
is Father's Day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sunday.
Because the 8, I think.
The Monday will be the 17th.
17th.
Alright,
I'm not here.
17th.
you're not here.
No. Sorry.
Oh,
She's off to Egypt to check out the
I'm
pyramids.
off
Yeah.
to Egypt. I'm going to get inside the
You do it.
sphinx.
Yeah, go for it.
She's gonna go. She's gonna go up the sphincter
So-
of the sphinx.
I was just going to go to Euro.
So it'll be
Come
well.
here, I'll-
So yeah, that Monday will be the
You
lads thing. Yeah. I'll try and twist someone's arm to come and join us. We'll see how that goes.
If I had Wi-Fi, I'd link in with you, but I don't think I'll have Wi-Fi.
I don't know. So anyway, thanks very much for watching.
Thank you.
As I
God
said,
bless you.
drop some suggestions in the
Thank
comments
you very
below
much.
what you'd like us to look at, and we'll run a poll and see where we go from there. Thanks very much. Love and light. God bless.
Have a
From
night.
all of us at Southend. Bye bye.
Bye.
And we are now off.